I have three guys: Jonathan Brooks, Byron Murphy, and Adonai Mitchell. I think. I'm just kidding.
Good evening, degenerates, and welcome back to another episode of Degen Hours, the first episode of the off-season. It is officially off-season, so we are completely done talking about football.
Psych.
Just kidding. This is an NFL draft episode. We were going to be like, should we talk about something else? No. And then we thought about Caleb Williams and the Bears, and we talked about Jaden Daniels going that high, and then we're like, okay, you know what? Deep dive NFL draft episodes 2 months away, which means there's no better time than right now to talk about this. There's no better time.
No better time.
I couldn't have thought of a better time. So this is going to be the NFL draft episode. We're going to dive into everything NFL draft because the Super Bowl, done. It's over. Yeah. I mean, we don't have anything else. We vlogged from the Super Bowl. If you didn't see that video, go ahead and check out our last post. It was crazy.
Crazy video.
Ryan took the vlog camera everywhere. We show you the room tour of a penthouse. $2.5 million suite for a Super Bowl 8 receipt.
Greatest
If you didn't see the vlog, go ahead, click that now. But while you're here, we're talking some NFL draft, so lock in, get some popcorn, and let's talk some action. Woo. With the NFL draft 2 months away, we're going to run off the current top 10 teams, but we all know, as we're going to talk about in a second, this could change quite a bit, especially with the Bears at number 1. So the teams with the top 10 picks go as follows. You have the Bears at the 1 spot, Commanders at the 2, then Patriots, Cardinals, Chargers, shout out cameraman Kevin, Giants, Titans, Falcons, Bears again at the 9, and then rounding out the top 10 with the Jets. So those are your top 10 teams. So we're gonna talk as if this is the top 10 at the draft, right? Because we can't predict any trades or anything. We can say, hey, we think they're gonna trade the pick, but when we're talking about who they should take, we're gonna go off that rankings list right there. Yeah. And then, as you all know, I mean, if you haven't been living under a rock, Caleb Williams projected to go number 1,
or a boulder.
Whatever you've been living under, Caleb Williams projected to go number 1, and kind of interestingly, 2 more quarterbacks projected to go 2 and 3.
Oh my God!
Wow.
We need to talk about this.
I know this hasn't been. I mean, this has happened a couple times. I remember the Zach Wilson draft where everyone was like, "Oh, I think maybe defensive player should go number 2," and they're like, "No, Zach Wilson too."
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels flown way up the draft boards. He's now at 2 or 3 with Drake May at 2 or 3. You have the wide receivers going at 4, 5, 6. All this crazy stuff going on. But I want to start at the top, and we'll make our way through the draft. So I'm going to start off this discussion with a very simple question. Should Caleb Williams be the number 1 pick no matter what, no matter who has the number 1 pick? And side note, you can talk about if you want, do you think the Bears should keep that number 1 pick and just go ahead and take him? Or are you saying, like, hey, they should trade it to some team that wants to go ahead and get Caleb? Or if you think Caleb just shouldn't be the number 1 pick, you can go ahead and let us know about that. But I'm going to start with Tate. Tate, how do you feel about this? Is Caleb just the for sure thing?
I mean, at this point, it just has to be. He just has to be. He has to be the first. He has to be the first pick of the draft. I mean, no matter what, if you're trading up, you're trading up because you need a quarterback and you need Caleb Williams. Yeah. Because you're risking the fact that the Bears are going to take him, which they probably are. They have to get rid of Justin Fields. I mean, at this point, they just have to get rid of him. I don't know. We all saw Justin Fields unfollowed the Bears, and now he follows Bijan and the
Steelers. He follows the Steelers too. The official Steelers.
Wow.
Justin Fields. He's trying to make moves.
He's I
feel like doesn't that kind of hints to the fact that someone's probably let him know. I don't know if it's his agents or whoever that they're like, hey, we got to go.
You're probably gonna be out,
or just common sense.
So I was gonna say.
Less than say anything.
So if that is kind of true, then the line of thinking is that the Bears have the number 1 pick and they're picking Caleb Williams. I mean, there's just as much as I mean,
they're picking a quarterback.
I mean, it's a Mario might have something to say.
I was gonna say, do you think they're not gonna go Caleb Williams? Not would you take Caleb, but also
if you told me what I think the Bears are gonna do, because they're an organization that never makes the right decision.
They're going Caleb.
They're going Caleb Williams.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
obviously.
So what's the right decision?
But you don't think Caleb should go number 1?
Absolutely not.
Who should go number 1?
Jaden Daniels.
Whoa.
For sure.
Whoa.
For sure. I've looked at every quarterback inside out.
This has nothing to do with you being a LSU fan.
No.
No bias.
Looked at this
non-biased.
objectively.
Okay.
He's basically like Justin Fields' legs and then like a pocket passer. Like he can actually throw the ball on time, accurate. Can actually like proactively like, oh, I'm going to put it in a spot.
And he's the Heisman.
And he's a Heisman.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just the ceiling is so high for him.
Well,
It's just, I mean,
that's wild.
yeah. There's no way you can convince me that he's not the best possible quarterback available.
So you're saying you would take, if you had the number 1 pick, you would take Jaden Daniels
For sure.
but you think the Bears are going to stay at 1 and
They're gonna take Caleb Williams, and listen, they're gonna find out.
Wow, that's great.
I tried to warn him.
Ryan,
I sent him a DM.
you seemed like I have a feeling you sent him a couple DMs.
I did. You know.
You had a pretty adverse reaction to
That's
that.
a terrible take. It's just a terrible. There's nothing around it. I mean,
I can't wait to clip this, and then we'll see it. Then.
Ooh.
I know. When it happens,
wow.
I'm not wrong about clips. You don't see me up.
He's
in clips
never
a
been
lot.
wrong.
He's never been
Never
wrong.
wrong.
Clip
Clip
that,
it.
and then
Clip
Kevin
it.
rolled the clip. Or Mike.
I'm telling you right now, we're talking about players and picks. Jaden Daniels really good. Being in that system helped him a lot. I mean, holy shit.
System quarterback.
I
System
mean,
quarterback.
don't get me wrong. He had probably one of the best like offensive weapons in the entire country
Well,
on
2.
the team.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, just as a
Malik
whole.
Neighbors
Malik
and-
Neighbors and Brian Thomas.
I'm saying as a whole, even if you just as
Well, 3
everything.
and his legs.
Sure, yeah. I don't know about this whole pocket passer being good. The guy ran for 100 yards and threw for 100 yards. Didn't feel anything crazy, but
I think he threw for a little more than 100 yards.
he also ran. for a
Jaden
little
Daniels
bit.
threw for 3,800 yards last year, which was good for. Oh wait, yeah, which was good for 200 yards more than Caleb Williams, and he had 1,100 rushing yards.
No,
That's
yeah,
what I'm
I
saying.
mean,
His stats across
Whoa,
the board
whoa.
were better than Caleb.
No,
one-
yeah, but that's
Yeah,
crazy.
Caleb Williams throwing an absolute
1,100
I mean, there's a reason he
I
was
mean, he had
Heisman.
Mario Williams.
He's thrown in the number
Former
4 pick in the
five-star.
number 4 or 5 pick in the draft.
Shout out
according to
Mario
a lot of
Williams.
people, but I don't know. That's crazy. Caleb Williams, just by the eye test, is the best quarterback in the draft. At 1, I think the Bears don't have a choice. It's more of like your GM, your owner, your everything gets fired, and if you keep Justin Fields, the
Yes.
fans hate you. So no matter what, it's more of like everything you do wrong, I'm already preparing for and hating on. So when you do something right, I go, oh, finally, like, sure, he's going to be for 1 second. He's going to do and then you're already hating and assuming something bad's going to happen. When you're assuming the worst is most likely going to happen. So I think Caleb Williams is just a no-brainer because of everything.
Physically, I would agree.
Future,
It's just my biggest problem with Caleb is I just don't think he has it mentally.
Well, no, I don't actually disagree with that. I disagree on the replacement for who I think the best quarterback in the draft is. But I'm just going to stay for a second at what the Bears should do. I completely agree when you're talking about GM, coach, everything. If they stick with Justin Fields, they have 1 more year, right? If they don't take Caleb or they trade back, and they literally have 1 season with Justin Fields, and if he's bad,
And it has to go
all the
well.
management's
It's
out.
not even just
Yeah.
that. If he finishes like 9 and 8,
That's what I'm
which
saying.
is good.
I think they would.
Which is like
They'd
average.
still, they would, but a lot of people would still be mad.
no,
Because they
Caleb
probably
Williams-
wouldn't even
if
get
they
a
make
wild
the
card
playoffs,
spot.
right?
There's a lot.
It's-
He
yeah,
has
they'd
to
have
do
to
really.
make
it's just
He
you
has
have
to
to
do
make
really well
playoffs.
just to get to that. You did okay. We'll see. Instead of Caleb can come in and do a lot of just
Well,
okay.
You can
I
give
was
him
gonna
a
say-
buffer year.
I was
Yeah,
just say with
exactly.
Caleb, I think you get 3 years. If you're a GM, they did an amazing trade last year, right, with the Panthers. This isn't the Bears' normal pick.
Yeah.
The
No,
Bears'
they
normal
killed-
pick's
they
at
killed it.
9.
Yeah.
This is the Panthers pick.
Yeah.
What they gave up, Panthers obviously gave away the house to get Bryce Young.
Yeah.
You know, so they kind of mortgaged. They put in Bryce Young, like, hey, we're going to take Caleb or get the 1 next year. So I think this just gives them like 3 years to work with. You can kind of move around.
You save a ton of money.
It brings excitement back. That's the one thing I think. I think the smart move for them would not be to take Caleb Williams. I think Justin Fields has had a new offensive coordinator every single year. It's impossible to be successful as a young quarterback with a new OC every year. He's shown improvement. They've won games that he's played. He's actually not even
A few
played.
games, but yeah, they've won some.
They not. What did they win 7 last
Won
year?
7,
and he was
yeah.
out for like 3
3 of
weeks. Yeah, and so I mean, one of those
Their
games
defense,
he was.
their defense started to strap last year. Too.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that
so-
team
That's-
is starting.
They're not
to
that bad.
actually
And the
come up.
NFC, I mean, we saw it in the playoffs. Anyone can win a playoff game in the
Yeah.
NFC when you
Yeah.
have like the
Bucks,
Bucks winning their
Lions.
division, the Lions going to the NFC Championship. You have the Packers winning a game. So a lot of these younger teams are working.
Yeah.
So I think the smart thing would be trade the pick, get more first round picks, load up the O-line, load up the defense, stick with the quarterback you already have, and see what you can do. But I think that totally puts the GMs on the hot seat. And they're just like, I mean, you got to
never
win.
do it.
If it doesn't work, then you're absolutely screwed. Caleb,
Is
imagine
it-
someone else gets the
At
one
the
pick
end of
they
the day, it's a
traded.
business. People
Yeah.
forget that, so they'll never do that.
Gives them excitement.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, how do you feel about the Bears and Caleb at 1?
I mean, I think Caleb definitely has what Ryan and Tate said. Like, he should be number 1 overall. I don't think it should be with the Bears, though. And so there's, like, kind of 2 outcomes that I think the Bears should do. And it's either if they, like, keep their number 1 pick, I think they should try to help Justin Fields as much as they can, not kind of ship him out and get rid of him. I guess kind of going for something that I was going to save for later, but if they do end up with the number 1 pick and keeping it, I think they should go with Marvin Harrison Jr.
Ooh.
Get an absolute weapon for Justin Fields, really help that offense. Or I could see them kind of shipping away that first pick, maybe giving it to like the Falcons who really need a quarterback. I would love to see that. And then maybe getting first round picks or more picks for next year because all they have is a second round pick.
Yeah, if they get,
so it's like they have to do something for next year.
I think if they like Marvin Harrison, the smart thing would be to even trade back like a couple spots.
Yeah.
What,
Because,
like 2 or 3?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You trade that pick for the 3 or the 4. Give the Patriots, or whoever else, like the 1 overall, move back a couple. Because
Cardinals or something,
any teams that are moving up, like teams really, at least I don't think they will, are going to move into the top 3 for a wide receiver. Like I think
who are the Cardinals drafting?
Surprised.
Well,
Dude,
Wide receiver.
yeah,
probably.
I mean,
I think it's Odunze.
It's
Marvin.
gotta
well, no,
be,
the Cardinals are at 4, right?
Marvin.
So
If Marvin-
Fucking
Bears-
hot take for that
Bears
shit.
at 1,
Neighbors.
Bears at 1 need a quarterback.
Yeah.
Commanders at 2 need a quarterback. Patriots at 3 need a quarterback.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
the 3 teams at the top right now, all their biggest need on every board is QB, right? And then you go to the Cardinals, they already have their QB. Chargers already have their QB. Giants stayed committed. You can say what
need
you
a QB.
want.
I'll talk about I'll talk about the Giants
they
a little
need-
later. Don't
We're
you
moving
worry.
down the draft
They
board a
need-
little
don't
bit. I
you
want to
worry.
stay
They
at the
need
top for now.
everything.
But long story short, the current projection for the Cardinals is Marvin Harrison Jr. at 4.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just not convinced because you were saying like, oh yeah, the top 3 need a quarterback. Like, I mean, it goes back to kind of what you and I were both saying is I'm not convinced that the Bears need a quarterback.
So
like,
if the,
I think
if
you
the
can
Bears
roll with.
did trade their pick, they would have to settle for. They would be like the 3rd. That would be the lowest they could go.
well, I mean, yeah, it's essentially what they could be looking at is if you're the Patriots or even the Commanders, you can do something like a draft day thing and be like, look, if you leave us at the 1, we are taking Caleb Williams 100% of the time.
Yeah.
If you want to get Caleb Williams, like switch the 1 and the 2, like first slot, second slot, give us a 2nd or 3rd rounder as well. You get Caleb Williams, like you're good to go. Like you don't even have to move that far down.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Patriots at the 3, I mean,
Bears aren't gonna do that.
the Patriots just cleaned house, right? No more coach, GM, everything's different. They're sitting with Mac Jones right now.
Dude, what are they going to do?
That's what I'm saying. If they can get Caleb Williams, all of a sudden it's like that fan base is energized. They had Tom Brady. You look at like the next Patrick Mahomes. But yeah, staying at the top of the board, I really don't think. I mean, they're going to take whoever's 1 is going to take Caleb Williams.
No,
that's what's going to
Yeah,
happen.
that's the thing, yeah.
I think Caleb Williams is going to be a bust.
Bust.
A
though.
bust.
Like, not even just
What do you
mediocre.
I mean,
but
no,
define,
full-blown
define,
bust.
your
Yeah,
version,
that's a-
define your version of a bust.
That's
What's he going to do?
Okay, so here's Caleb Williams reminds me a lot of Johnny Manziel. The way, not obviously how high they were drafted, but just, okay, so if you look at their college stats, same thing with Johnny Manziel. The year before they got drafted was Heisman, insane year, won a bunch of games, had crazy stats. Like that was the season before.
Yeah.
The season going into their draft really wasn't that spectacular. Both of them, I think Caleb won 7 games last year. I want to say Johnny Manziel won 7 or 8. I think it might have been 7 games his last season there. It was like their stats weren't the best. They looked good. They still had these highlight plays, but just something looked weird. And then the off the field stuff just kind of, it doesn't make sense to me with Caleb. How like at first he was saying he would stay if the Bears had the 1 pick, and then he said he never said that. And then like apparently he was talking to like different players on like which teams he would want to stay at. And then now you've kind of heard radio silence from him. They don't know if he's going to participate in all these things. Like it just reminds me a lot of the Johnny Manziel offseason things that were kind of sketchy. And then I agree with Mario. I think the mental aspect is crazy. Like he was crying on the sideline in college games.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't like he just lost like
That's
the
wild,
Natty
bro.
or something. They had 6 wins. They were 6-4, and they lose a game or whatever, and then he's just like crying on the sidelines.
Yeah.
See,
Like-
that's, I think, perspective. I think that was earlier than what people think. It was like when they only had 2 losses, and it was a chance for them to do something, get maybe something deep, and he cried in his mom's arms. Like, he's human. That's something I don't get. Like, I don't give a shit if you're crying. Like, maybe that's not for your mental, but, like, that's something I hate. That went viral, and I hated that. Like, the nails thing,
No,
it's all this little shit that I'm like,
I
don't
know,
really like it.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean, but I'm like somewhere in between you guys because I agree. Like I feel like people look too deep into like
Crazy.
crying and emotion, but also I do agree with like that's just a strange spot to do that. Like I agree. Like it's not a big enough game where like there wasn't that much at stake
It seemed-
realistically
it
for
seemed
you
like
to
he
just
was-
his
break
college
down.
career ended.
No, it seemed like he was overwhelmed. at times. Like even though he was
Did you
playing,
watch the game?
well, no, it seemed like he was playing well. I mean, okay,
He did everything he possibly
when's
could.
the last time? I mean, maybe you guys know this better than me, but the quarterbacks who have like had at least success in the NFL in recent years that were drafted. If you look at like the top picks, you go to like the Joe Burrows, had won a national championship, won a bunch of games, like strong leader. There wasn't really any questions about it. Trevor Lawrence, say what you want about their last season, won a playoff game his second year in the league, made a Pro Bowl, like won a national championship, all this stuff. Even you go to like players like, CJ Stroud, unbelievably successful career. Granted, that team didn't get the job done.
Didn't do
but
anything.
he was not. Yeah, but I mean, they won 10 plus
You didn't
games.
see him
There was
crying,
never a
yeah.
season where he won
Yeah.
less than 10 games. I think it was 11 games, and his stats were always crazy. Never like none of these players ever cried. All their teammates are just like insane leader, insane leader, insane leader. Even though you look at like Justin Herbert, someone who's taken a couple picks after the one, but like every season he had at Oregon, they were Pac-12 championship contenders, 10 plus win seasons. I don't know the last time a number one overall pick has been on a 7-win team. Literally, Caleb Williams never won anything in college. Not a conference championship, not ever made it to the playoffs, never won a playoff game.
And you can say the same for Patrick Mahomes. I just think, because for me, I just don't think the Bears is a great fit for Caleb. Like, I think it's going to be very similar.
But I can live-
It's the NFL version, honestly. It's the NFL version of USC. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him. He's going to have to carry a lot. And the entire city is going to be like, oh, you're coming in. Everyone talks about him like he's the next Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's what
and when
they're
I
looking
say
at
he's a
him.
bust, I don't mean he's not going to work out. Like, realistically, I think he's going to be an
average
okay quarterback. Like, if he was going in like the second or third round, people would be like, oh, like, yeah, we got a good draft. But because he's number one overall, he's
Totally.
touted.
But I can live with that.
Yeah.
He's touted as Patrick Mahomes. But I'm saying, like, you're taking him at one, and he
The
might literally
expectations
produce
are
the
too
same
high.
as Justin Fields last year, and
Yeah.
maybe
That'd be a
has
great
more
season for
has
him.
more like potential in terms of his passing, but like
I don't even know if he does.
I think like overall, like he's not that big of a leap ahead because of the situation he's going in. That's me personally, and I just don't think he's I don't know. Something about his character and kind of going back to what Tyler said, like dude, crying in that game again. I don't mind if you cry when you lose like a playoff game, national championship. I could care less, or a game to get into a playoff game. But when you're crying, when your team is 6-2, I'm just saying that shows you everything about him. He's thinking about him. He's not thinking about the team. He didn't go over there to talk to any team. He's like,
tell
that's-
somebody there.
that's
I
a
hate
weird
that.
thing
But
to
like,
say.
but
Yeah,
like,
that's
picture
that's a weird
Caleb.
thing to
he's
say.
just,
Picture
I think
Caleb.
he's all about himself.
Picture Caleb Williams
Yes.
2 or 3 years from now when he said coaching and advisors and people telling him how like improving his.
What if he has 3 different offensive
Okay, but
Can you
okay,
say
but
that about anyone?
Dude,
Yeah.
but improving
You can say that about
improving
him,
their
yeah.
mental game.
He reminds me
okay,
of-
but we've all seen the skill that he has.
But that's the same.
Yeah,
Dude,
but-
this reminds me so much of how people talked about Zach Wilson because, and I mean, we all like at least a lot of us didn't really like him that much.
No,
but there
we
were
all-
people. No, dude, there were people. Remember his pro day when he was like running to the side and threw a crazy pass and like, oh, he has this like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes esque
on-
ability.
yeah, but that was his
One day
pro
he
day
showed
though.
something.
Yeah.
No, but
It was
he
one
had-
day.
he
No
did
one
that also.
said throughout the season.
wasn't like-
it was a joke. It was a laughing, stalking joke. It was
They
like
picked
the
him.
Will Levis
They
thing.
picked him at 2.
Like Will Levis had a great combine and everything goes.
But no,
nuts.
but Will Levis didn't get drafted that high. I'm saying when you're saying like picture him with coaching and everything, they threw Zach Wilson, a quarterback that wasn't as mature and his drafted for just like his spectacular playability, in with coaches and everything, and he just got overwhelmed immediately. Like
I
if
just
he
don't-
doesn't click,
you
I
can't
mean,
compare
literally
Zach
it's
Wilson
Justin
and Caleb
Fields. They go, oh,
Williams.
look at the talent. Like, imagine coaching and just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna improve the mechanics and blah. Like, it's been 3 years, and I mean, he had his best season ever. Got 7 wins off. Like, you could say that about any player. I think the top picks. I feel like you just know. Like, you know, like there wasn't a secret. Like, oh, is Joe Burrow gonna be like a decent court? Like, you just kind of know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
say
you
what you
watch
want
him
about
in
Trevor
college, you go,
Lawrence.
this
Like, I
guy's gonna
think
be
he's
great.
gonna be fine.
yeah.
For his career. Like,
there's
you look
certain
at
people-
Caleb and like he has all the skill, but you just look and like something just doesn't seem right with the kid in terms of like
that's crazy.
how he carries himself.
yeah,
I don't even know if
there's just too much. There's too much drama around him.
he cried a couple times.
It's not even the
Got
crying.
mad at a
Take out the
couple
crying.
picks.
There's too much drama around him. I mean, he's always saying, "Oh, I want stake in a team." Then he doesn't have a good season, and he's like, "Well, actually, no. I'll go first."
The
But if the
$50,000
Bears have the pick,
penthouse.
I won't go
That's
to the
crazy.
Bears.
That's crazy.
And then he has no leverage, so he's like, "Actually, no, I never said that." Like, there's just all these It's too much.
How
Something
about-
seems
well,
weird.
He's
Well, I
getting,
think
drafted for football. Like, play football. Your mental might not get you deep or as good, but your skill will still get you very far.
See, I don't actually even know if he's the most skilled quarterback though.
I don't even know if it. I mean, obviously it matters, but kind of like piggybacking off what Mario said, I think it's gonna be very dependent career-wise for him on where he goes, and I think it's like
That's literally everyone.
well,
That is to a
I don't know.
degree
Yes
true.
and no. It's like
To a degree, certain quarterbacks can go without it.
There are
Correct. Yeah, I think
there
some people
there
are kinda
generational quarterbacks that
No, like I
like
think,
Patrick Mahomes could fit in any system and just be like
but he won't. He
literally
wouldn't
great.
be three
Like,
Super Bowl champion.
No,
I'm saying.
no, but
Patrick
he
Mahomes.
would still be
But,
great.
I think
And
they
he would
also
still
maybe
be a
they
top
also
quarterback for
I think
sure.
it's
I don't
more
know,
like
what I was
Lamar
gonna say-
Jackson.
No,
could go
what
to,
I was
like,
gonna
any
say,
team.
Patrick Mahomes, there literally was no more perfect situation. When you talk about stars aligning, you get to sit
Him and
behind
Andy
Alex
Reid.
Smith
Oh,
for a year. Like a very, very good long-term veteran with Andy
quarterback.
Reid coaching you
Yeah.
and zero stress coming, no expectation. Like
Yeah.
that was like the perfect situation.
Yeah.
When they get thrown in to start right away,
As a
it's
star.
very, very, very hard.
that's for everyone.
No,
It's
totally.
everyone.
But
it's not a new thing.
No, but you look at the success rate. I mean, I think, and this might be a little crazy. I don't even know if. I don't think they should do this necessarily, but I think the best situation for Caleb would be to actually sit behind Justin Fields for another year. Like if they draft him and don't play him
But
right
they would
away-
never do that.
No,
Yeah.
they
That's,
would
like,
never
not
do it.
realistic.
But if you think about the quarterbacks who are drafted high, and they don't really do this with the first overall picks, right?
Yeah.
I think they should. But like you look at the Jordan Love thing, and obviously Justin Fields is no Aaron Rodgers, and like he's not going to sit for multiple years. But even the 1 year Patrick Mahomes thing, like you have a really talented quarterback who's just raw, and you want to coach him.
Mm-hmm.
Don't start him the first NFL game. Put him behind someone who can like watch how the game moves.
Yeah.
And learn.
No, that helps
and then
a lot.
less pressure. Yeah, I think
Every NFL quarterback says it, even because I think halfway through the season or like 9th or 10th game, Joe Burrow, rookie year, like Chase Young bent his leg backwards. But he talked about like having that time off, like when he came back, like he felt more prepared because he got a taste of what games were like that second year. I don't know. I mean, you see that all the time with a lot of good quarterbacks, or at least like good potential, when they sit that first year and have time off. They come back that second year like a lot more prepared.
no.
It's kind of the same idea with college, right? It's like it's the reason, part of the reason why freshmen always like never start.
Yeah.
I'm done
always
talking
just-
about Caleb Williams. I don't even like Caleb Williams.
Well, no. What I was gonna
Nobody
say.
likes Caleb Williams.
What I was gonna say is there are the first 3 picks are all projected to be quarterbacks.
Oh,
So it's
God,
right
it's
now
all terrible
supposed to be
picks.
Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May. So I just want to go around and say, do you think that is the correct way to draft this draft class? And if so, in what order? I mean, we all kind of said Caleb's going to be the one. I know you said Jaden Daniels should be.
Yeah.
But do you think those 3 deserve to be the top 3 picks? Like that is the smart thing to do.
Wait, top 3, because you know we were gonna like list out our picks.
Yeah.
Are we just talking about the top 3 quarterbacks?
No, we're talking
No,
about
the
the
top 3 picks.
projected right now. If you look, it's
Well, I want to
project-
save that for, you know what I mean? That's like just the same subject when we're going to give out our top 5 picks. It might not be, it's exactly what
my
I'm going to
top.
correlate.
I mean, your top 5 might be similar. Mine.
no,
well,
mine's going to be nowhere near, the top 3
yeah,
quarterbacks aren't even in my top 5 list.
Yeah, I know. That's what,
That's
but
what
we're
I'm saying.
saying.
Let's talk about it now.
So I'm saying, so you're saying top 3 if you want to talk about, that's what I'm saying. Do you
Let's
want
do
to talk
top
about
5
it
then. Let's do top 5 then.
Okay,
Sure.
'cause
Okay.
it depends on how you look at it. Because I thought you were talking about quarterbacks, we were talking about 3 quarterbacks specifically.
Well, do you think
No,
first?
I personally
should
have,
those 3 quarterbacks?
no, I don't think any of them are top 5 picks.
Okay, so
That
that's
was-
exactly
but
what I
don't know
want to
if you
get
want
to.
to lead into the top
No,
5 picks.
no. You know what? Let's do it now. Top 5 picks in the NFL draft. Who each of us think? All right. So as Ryan brought up, it's a good idea now to kind of just jump to who we think the top 5 picks should be.
hop.
Yeah.
Because if we said, I don't think they should all be quarterbacks, kind of gives it away for later. So we're doing that right now. We'll start with you, Ryan, since you want to do this. What are your top 5 picks on the Ryan draft board
Okay, Ryan draft
that should be taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Nothing about, this is nothing about teams or nothing
Not
about.
who you think they're going to
Yeah,
take.
just
who,
I-
who
like
you
five
would
best
take.
prospects.
Ryan Schmeko, if I was listing the top 5 players that I would draft
Yeah.
when I was on a single team or an
Yeah.
owner, who I'd go in order, number 1 for me is very, very simple. It's sick, but it's simple. It's UCLA, Latea
Oh,
Lance.
wow.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something about
I love
defensive
that. No, I
players in
love
the
that.
NFL.
I love that.
Always pan out.
Yeah.
Always.
Current-
if they're up,
Leatu
Number
Latu.
12 on ESPN's draft
yes.
board.
Yeah.
So
I know.
Oh,
I like some
he's
people.
projected a lot of
like
places
that.
in like 22.
Some people don't understand that offense is very hard to knock out and do well, especially in the skill positions like quarterback. Even the best quarterbacks get drafted in
Yeah.
the top 10. 80% of them don't pan out.
Yep.
And the ones that do still don't win Super Bowls or
Yeah.
still don't do anything crazy. So it's literally luck. It's needle in the haystack to get one of these top quarterbacks. So he's my one.
He was also in the season. There were people saying he might go like 2 or something,
Beautiful.
and then now he's falling down the draft board. Yeah,
I hope I can bring those people back.
Yeah.
He's my one. Number 2, Joe Alt.
I love Joe Alt.
If you are looking for something that's benefited every single team, that every team that's good, and they think of the one thing that can get better on the team,
tackle.
Bengals, Chiefs, Bills, whatever it is, that team's Niners, they always get a tackle. That's absurd. He's the best tackle in the draft by a mile. Notre Dame ran on every team, had Heisman favorites in the beginning of the year for a reason because of him. That offense was crazy because of him. He's insane.
He's also 6'8". Guy's
He's just a
monster.
absolute
No,
those
like
Notre
he's
Dame
actually
tackles.
huge.
Absolute monster.
Like,
And
100%.
those 2 picks, those first 2 picks, I don't want to cut you off, but those are the players that like we always talk about. You draft them at the top, guaranteed Pro Bowls. You're drafting.
Oh yeah.
You're
Oh,
getting
yeah.
exactly what you watch on film.
In year
There's
2 or
nothing
3, in year
different.
2 or 3, they're going to be in the conversation for the best at their entire position.
Yeah.
in the league.
100%.
It's the Aiden
Yeah.
Hutchinsons,
No, they're
like
the
all
most-
those guys
yeah.
who get
Yeah.
drafted in your immediate Pro Bowl. Like just
100%. 100%.
All right. Number 3.
Number 3, could be biased. Some people might get mad. Marvin Harrison.
Yep.
I think he's just the best talent in the draft. I know
I agree with
positional things happen. You might want a quarterback higher, like I've been saying, defensive player, offensive line higher. I just think his skill outweighs anything I've seen in a long time, and I've seen wide receivers come through Ohio State like crazy. I am ready for him to ball out. I think he'll have an immediate impact to whatever team he goes to, and I think it'd be very smart for teams that are even like 12 to 16 that are just waiting on weapons to go move some picks up. Maybe get the 4th pick with all these quarterbacks going and get Marvin Harrison. I think he's 3 though, personally. Number 4, a guy that I last year, starting the year, thought was going to be the best player in all of college football and was going to be the number 1 pick. Jared Verse.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, yeah.
He is single-handedly made Florida State undefeated after Travis got hurt. Single-handedly won ACC
I was going to
championship.
say that ACC championship game. He had 4 or 5 sacks.
Oh, he did.
he was
Single-handedly
unbelievable.
did everything. And talking about comparable to the NFL, every single rusher like that, I mean, we can go at Watt, Parsons, Donald, every pick that have been drafted high just does well. It never, ever doesn't do well. Bosa's, it's just so good.
Yeah.
It's free. And then my last one, going back to offensive line, Fashanu is a Penn State guy. He is
The tackle.
he's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like I can't even explain to you how good he is. And another immediate impact. As soon as you get him, it'll help your team. It'll boost your offense. Could be mediocre. You get a tackle that gives a quarterback more time. One of these young guys, they're now better passer rating, better all this, better decision. You never know.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, because I was kind of in a similar spot when I was doing my notes for this, prepping for it, but it's like, why do you have Fashanu below Joe Alt? Because I was pretty much like they're kind of tied, but Fashanu technically, based off like scores given, is like
He's ranked one spot higher.
Yeah, I think he's
Ranked
one spot higher, right? So it's like
You can
they
just
say he's
watch.
quicker
Yeah.
off his feet. They say he's,
So why that's a great point. Why I don't have a quarterback in my top 5 is exactly why I have that opinion. I watch these quarterbacks
what?
play,
Yeah.
and I don't think they're top 5 potential, even though everyone says they are because of
Okay.
their ratings, stats, whatever you want to call
And
it.
you look at the
I
screen.
watched Estime run behind Joe
Yeah.
Alt.
I know.
Lord, yeah,
Trust
that
me,
was-
I know.
So
it
he
is
made-
the eye
I
test.
know.
The answer is the eye test.
Yeah, he
Okay.
made Estime
Okay.
look unbelievable, and I
Yeah.
think that'll be a huge case for this year.
Okay,
I
like
also
that.
think
So-
Estime is a very talented guy in himself.
He is a
But-
very
He's
good
very
running back.
talented.
But yeah, so I love that, Ryan. Current top 3 is supposed to be all 3 quarterbacks. Your top 5, 0 quarterbacks.
Yeah,
I
might
actually- yeah.
everyone might hate me. Go ahead, you can comment.
Mine is eerily similar to Ryan's.
I don't hate it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Rail it
Yeah,
off.
I mean, obviously, I spoiled it earlier. Number 1, I think should be Jaden Daniels. I just think the most important position in football is quarterback. I think he's the best quarterback available. Could be biased. I don't know.
You should bet it. Just a little sprinkle.
I'll find out.
You'll
I'll let
get
you know.
amazing odds on that.
But yeah, obviously, so I got number 1, Jaden Daniels, and then number 2 and 3 were between Latu and Verse for me. I gave it to Verse simply because I saw him last year and this year.
Perform at the highest.
Latu this year for me was way better, and I saw him in games when he dominated, like against USC. Like he was just unblockable. So like he looked more
Yeah.
dominant, but I just gave it to Verse. I've seen it for a little longer, but that's my 2 and 3. And then 4, I had Joe Alt. And then I didn't want to go back-to-back offensive tackles, so at 5, I threw in Marvin Harrison.
I was about to say,
Well, so no Caleb Williams in your top 5 either.
only one quarterback.
Only one
No
quarterback.
Drake May either.
Michael,
Brock Bowers at 6. Honorable
you've
mention.
got to have a couple quarterbacks.
Honorable
there.
mention.
I definitely do have a couple quarterbacks. I also tailored it a little bit differently. So when I was making my top 5, I tailored it based off the people who are picking in those top 5
Oh, like
slots,
the
right?
team's needs.
Like the actual
Correct.
picks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Correct. Although, so I'll give you that one first, and I'm gonna off the top of my head give you the other top 5.
All right, go ahead.
But so I mentioned it earlier, but I think if the Bears keep number 1, they should get Marvin Harrison Jr. 2, the Commanders, kind of weird. I actually like them getting Drake May here, just because for some reason his movability factor, I see it correlate a lot with like old prime RG3. And it kind of just like
That
That is the worst.
out of all the quarterbacks,
Drake
that's
makes
the
the
most
most
stand
still.
No, he moves.
no, he does move.
He
He
runs.
actually does
runs.
move.
He runs.
He gets out of the pocket.
He runs
quite a
in
bit.
slow motion, but yeah, he runs.
He definitely runs in slow
between
motion.
How many
Caleb
runs
Shane
did
Daniels
Jay-
and Caleb
All
Williams.
right, we're talking about speed.
I think Drake May
no.
might have more rushing yards than Caleb Williams last year.
That
Sure.
could be
I think
true.
he's-
sure.
Speed-wise,
But like,
speed-wise,
one's getting
vertical,
you're right.
yeah, one's horizontal,
No,
one's
okay,
vertical on the field.
I get you. Anyways, that's kind of why I ended up there. I had 3 for the Patriots is where I went Caleb Williams. 4 for the Cardinals. This is actually pretty funny because they're losing Zach Ertz, and I feel like Kyler Williams desperately needs a weapon there. Brock Bowers.
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray, yeah.
Kyler Murray.
What'd I say?
Kyler Williams.
I'm so sorry.
That threw me off. I was like,
Yeah,
I was like,
it almost sounded right too.
Who the
No,
hell
I
was
was
that?
I was like,
I was saying random shit.
Kyler, Oklahoma, Caleb Williams, Oklahoma. He just did a
well,
little
I was
bit.
thinking of Kyron Williams on the Rams or Caleb Williams, and I was like, I don't know where his head's at right now.
Kyler
Dude, I didn't know where my head
So you're
was
going
at
for the
either.
Cardinals, you
You're
like
going
Brock.
to
Cardinals, I had Brock, and then for the Chargers, I had Joe Alt.
Okay.
But then,
Not bad.
top of my head, I would go Marvin Harrison 1 still. I would probably go. I actually really like Jared Verse. I think he's unbelievably like phenomenal, once in a generational talent. I have him at 2. I would go probably Fashwanu at 3. For some reason, like I said, they were back to back with Joe Alt, but I had Fashwanu. 4, I would probably go Drake May, and then 5, I would go. Man, it's hard to not say Jalen Daniels, but
Just say it.
no, I'm not. Just for
Do
fun,
I?
just for fun, I'm gonna toss in Malik Neighbors.
Wow.
All right.
Just for
Neighbors,
fun.
neighbors over Daniels.
I like
Yeah,
that.
just for fun.
I
Just
like
for
that.
fun. Just for
Mario's
fun.
just happy.
No,
LSU's
just
just
for
happy. All right, so my top 5 is a little different than everyone else's so far. My number 1 is going to be Drake May, and no one said he's the number 1 quarterback. He's the one
I'm at number 1 quarterback.
Oh, did you have him over Caleb?
Yeah, because I have him
that
at
was
2
his- that was
for.
his
Oh
Number
yeah,
two,
yeah, okay,
yeah.
never mind. Nice,
Bang.
very nice. Well, yeah, I think he's
Yeah, for the
far and away.
movability,
Yeah.
RG3,
RG3,
D1 track.
Yeah, no, I don't, my comp is not RG3, but I've never seen someone so NFL ready before, in my opinion. I actually think he could have played, like he could play in the NFL right now. I don't know if I could say the same for a
Even
lot of
more
us.
than Mitch Trubisky?
Yeah.
NFL ready?
Big old
Probably.
Mitch. Big
No,
Mitch.
but
That's what they were saying.
No, but 2 years ago when I watched Drake May play, I was like, oh my God, this guy is going to be an NFL great quarterback. Last year, there was a whole lot going on with that team. They were also, North Carolina, not like a good football school.
No.
Yeah. Really. So it's not like they have a program. They're not recruiting 5 stars. They're not, and they're in the ACC.
Yeah, we hate you, UNC.
Well, no, they weren't great. He made them really good 2 years ago. They went to the ACC championship. Last year, they weren't very good. But I think Drake May is just the best player in this draft. So it's not even like an I don't like Caleb Williams thing. I've been pretty consistent with this in all the college episodes as well. I think he's the number 1
big Drake
quarterback.
May,
Yeah,
yeah.
I really, really like Drake May. So I'm going him at 1. Number 2, and I said I think he's going to be a bust, but should be Caleb Williams. I think his potential is totally there.
Yeah.
Like I'd be crazy to say there's like no potential with Caleb Williams. Yes, if he gets his shit figured out, goes to the right spot, he could be unbelievable.
Yeah.
For sure. There's no doubt in my mind. And I think just that upside opportunity is why you should go him at 2. It's not a lock. It's not a guarantee like a lot of these defensive guys or offensive or like linemen.
Yeah.
But when you're a team drafting at the 1, 2, 3 spot, quite often, unless you already have an established team like the Bears do, which is why I can see the Bears moving back and getting those pieces to build around Fields. I mean, the Commanders and the Patriots need help. You know, if they get an offensive lineman, they're still going to suck.
Yeah.
They're still going to suck. So take the shot here. It's good for the team. It's good for the city. Good for the fan base, regardless of what happens. You got to go with Caleb at 2. My number 3 is Dallas Turner, the linebacker from Alabama.
Okay.
That's fine.
And so I actually think he's the best defensive player in the draft. And I'm surprised no one had him above Latu or Jared Verse. He's actually Dallas Turner is the highest ranked defensive player.
True. No, I know.
On all the draft boards.
Defense.
Yeah. You can say what you want about rankings, but I mean, I watched him at Alabama. This dude is scary fast, and Alabama outside linebackers very rarely bust. Like, we're talking about the players that aren't going to miss.
Yeah.
I totally agree on the other guys as well. But, I mean, when you're coached by Saban for 3 years and you're an Alabama top-ranked defensive player, I don't think you can miss
Those
on that.
usually work
No,
out pretty
I mean,
well.
those are like the most.
No, I mean,
it's the Will. It's the Will.
I have no problem with
It's
that.
the Will Anderson thing. It's just like you draft him, all of a sudden you're like, wow, this guy's going to be a stud on your defense for the next 10, 12 years. Yeah, and just the same. In my opinion, Will Anderson was better, but it's a very similar thing. Number 4 for me is for sure Marvin Harrison Jr. And I don't ever love the idea of drafting receiver. This is going to be the next question after we all run off our top 5. I don't love the idea of drafting receiver, but I think this in the top 5, but I think this draft class is uniquely weak for stars.
Yeah.
Like for absolute stars. I think there's a lot of really, really, really good players in like the 10 to 30 range.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
But like the 5
But as far as your
star,
unbelievable stars, I think
Yeah.
he's a star. Like he's 100% a star. So if you already have a team, I don't think unless you have an established quarterback, offense, coach, everything, you shouldn't take him.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have everything. But if you're a team, like you said, in that like 9 to 14 range, and you all you need is that one piece to help your quarterback get to the next level, go get yourselves the next Justin Jefferson. Go get yourselves the next, wide receiver 1 guy.
What wide receiver did you say? Go get the next
Well,
one.
Justin Jefferson. I'm talking about like
Wide receiver one.
the first 2 years.
Yeah, no.
Like
His
Justin,
favorite wide receiver.
Well, I don't.
It's wide receiver one.
I don't want to talk about
He
Justin
knows.
Jefferson, but I'm saying like when you or like even the Jamar Chase, Odell Beckham type thing.
Oh my God! Thank you.
No, but like I'm strictly talking about their first year or 2 in the league. Like their first year, they break rookie records.
Yeah.
Like I could totally see if he goes to the right spot, he could break Justin Jefferson's rookie record 100%. I guess now Puka Nakua's rookie record.
No, still Jamar.
But
Oh, it is.
yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, still Jamar Chase. Puka didn't break it in yards.
For yards, but he did on touchdowns or in receptions.
Maybe.
I don't know.
on
I think
receptions.
I know he broke some rookie
Receptions
records.
he did.
I don't have the stats. in front of me.
1,000,000%.
I don't have the stats in front of me. And number 5 is Jared Verse for me. So that rounds out my top 5. We've already talked about Jared Verse like that, but I have 2 defensive players in the top 5. The rushing, like edge rusher, outside linebacker position. You got your 2 quarterbacks, and then the number 1 player in the draft, Marvin Harrison.
Tate.
All right. To wrap it out here, I feel like I don't really have an actual like just list of like number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. I really just see like 5 players that just stand out to me that are just different. And I think going down the list, like right at the very top, you have Marvin Harrison, Caleb Williams, and I think they have the best opportunity to be generational talents. I think no matter what, we've been talking about Caleb Williams for like 3 years now. He could be the next so and so, whatever. Regardless of what we talked about earlier, he has that opportunity. Marvin Harrison, I don't think there's any doubt in anyone's mind that he's going to be an absolute freak.
He looks like
barring
Julio
injury,
Jones.
Barring injury,
Yeah.
he's just built for it. He's built
sure.
different. Coming down on the list, I'm surprised. I think only one other person had Brock Bowers on their list.
He was my honorable mention.
Bang.
Chargers at 5
because
should take him.
because we've seen teams with good tight ends succeed very well.
Correct.
And I think if Brock Bowers lands in the right spot, I think that could be unbelievably valuable for some people. And I may not like know the offensive like tackle position that well, so I'm gonna finish with 2 defensive players. It's my boy Latu and Jared Verse.
Yeah.
I think those 5 are just the most solid players in the draft.
Non-biased, do you take Latu or Jared Verse? I mean, I guess
100% bias Latu.
Yeah.
That's a wild statement.
No bias there.
Yeah.
All right, now I want to get into a couple questions after we all gave off our top 5 about how high is too high for certain players and where we feel like specific individuals should get drafted.
We all had Marvin Harrison.
All right, so now that we've all covered our top 5 players that we think should go 1 through 5, I just want to ask a few questions. We can just kind of go through these quickly or take more time on it. We all said Marvin Harrison Jr. is in our top 5.
Yeah.
Every single one of us. But bigger picture, conceptually speaking, how high is too high to draft a receiver? Because we've seen the value of wide receivers in the NFL kind of similarly to how running backs have been degraded. in value. I mean, you're not seeing the same level with receivers, but I mean, we just saw with Patrick Mahomes, you don't need a wide receiver to win a Super Bowl. It's all, if your quarterback's amazing, you have, whether it's a tight end or something, you know, the receivers value, there's a lot of them out there.
Shout out Rashee Rice.
Yeah, no, seriously. And end of the first round, those end of the first round, second round guys can win you Super Bowl. So do you need to take them in the top 5? Is a top 5 draft pick too high to take a wide receiver, regardless of who it is? I just want to go around the table. Mario, start with you. Yes or no?
I don't think it's too high. I mean, it depends on what you have.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, Mahomes can make Rashee Rice look like a borderline Pro Bowler in his rookie year. You know what I mean? Like, the Bengals had Joe Burrow coming back healthy. They're like, all right, yeah, give him Jamar Chase. Like, obviously, if you threw Jamar Chase on the Patriots, yeah, I don't even know if he'd still be in the league. Like, he'd be the best screen catcher in the league.
Dude, that Mac Jones, Jamar Chase.
You know what I mean? Like, so much is contingent on how, you know, the quarterback and their chemistry.
So
and
team
everything.
dependent then.
So it is team dependent for sure. I don't think there's a limit to how high you can go depending on what the team is.
Okay, that's fair. Michael?
Yeah, I think I pretty much agree directly in line with that. But with that being said, while it matters more on like what a team needs, you're absolutely right. Like wide receivers or like, I don't know, certain positions don't necessarily win you championships.
They don't equal wins.
Yeah. Exactly. And so I understand why there maybe should be a ceiling on how high like those players should go, but I think at the end of the day, Mario's right. It's just team dependent, and if similar, like I've been saying, if you're the Bears and you're keeping Justin Fields, I think it's a great spot to just draft him 1-1.
Yeah,
all the way up.
I mean, I had Marvin Harrison, I think, at 4 in my rankings. That's just because I think he's so much better than everyone else. So, in general, my take would be top 5 is way too high. Like, I wouldn't even look at a receiver until like 8. Mm-hmm. Like, when you can get Pro Bowl guys for sure that impact games like tackles and D ends and you know, or take a shot on the quarterback.
Mm-hmm. I think generally speaking, that's good.
The one thing I agree with though is if your team has everything you need, you can kind of wiggle around. I mean, we saw Mahomes doesn't need them. Yeah. But if the Patriots aren't, or not the Patriots, the Chiefs are in a spot where they're like, hey, why the hell do we need our first round draft pick this year or next year and the second round this year? We just won the Super Bowl back to back. Why don't we just go get Patrick Mahomes' target for the next 6 years? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's go get him wide receiver 1. Yeah. That makes sense to me. If you don't need anything else, but I think if you're not a complete team already, then there are way more positions you should be looking to. Wide receiver should be like the 3rd or 4th or 5th down.
Totem pole of priority.
Especially when you can get guys. I mean, we're not talking sleepers yet, but you're looking like 2nd, 3rd round. You're getting like the Xavier Worthies of the world. Yeah. Or Xavier Legette from South Carolina. Like those are guys that can do very close to probably what Marvin Harrison can do. Not to the level, but at least decent imitation of it. So I wouldn't go that high unless you have to.
Yeah, I think the league is just changing. I think more offensive players are getting, or like offensive scheme player, like wide receivers, are getting drafted higher. It used to be at like 25. Last year it was like high, like 12 to 15. 2 years ago it was like 12 to like the first 11, 12, 13, 14 were all wide receivers or whatever. So I just think it's getting to that where just like it's getting higher and higher in people's draft board, and also defense is becoming less of a thing. I feel like more points are being scored in college than ever. Yeah. Like in the past couple of years, and that's because of offenses, and defenses aren't being as like showed or like shown on ESPN or talked about like the Jared Verse, where like Jared Verse any other year besides the past 3 years would be the number 1 pick in the draft. How he took the team undefeated, won the ACC championship by himself. And he's the defensive end or whatever inside linebacker rushes the passer. Like he is. I just think the way the league is shaping up and compared to college football, that it's going to be a lot easier to pick these wide receivers top because they come to the league and immediately are good, like so quickly.
Yeah. Tate?
Yeah, I mean, when you say like how high is too high, I think I would agree with you. Is like top 5 as a top 5 pick, that's crazy. But when you have someone like Marvin Harrison who just is going to be a generational talent, it's really there is no ceiling if you're that team that is saying, well, hey, I think he could be the best receiver of all time, or he could be a top 5 receiver. And we've heard people talk about that. Yeah. So I don't see how taking him at 1-1. I don't think it would be people. I say the majority of people wouldn't bat an eye. They'd be Okay, I mean, yeah.
I mean, they
he's
might
that
be
good.
a little.
I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
Situationally,
The
right?
guy
Like,
that's never let a stat in like anything.
Yeah.
Is people are like, oh, this is
Wait,
gonna
well,
be the god generation
stats in
talent.
college are interesting as well because it heavily depends on like your competition, your conference. Like if you're blowing teams out, the receivers don't play as much in the game. Like you're gonna look at stat leaders, whether it's passing or for receiving. A lot of the times in college will come from your Pac-12, your Big 12, or
Where
like
your quarterback was.
Yeah,
You know,
kind
I mean,
of
if
random
if
spots.
Jaden Daniels was thrown to Marvin Harrison, I mean,
No,
Yeah,
but
he
it's
had
just
talent
crazy to
before.
me that everyone's so like, this is generational talent. Like,
well, I think you
automatic.
can just look on the field and just be like, yeah, this guy's
Yeah.
different.
but that's what people are saying about Caleb Williams too.
I agree. Well, I think people
'cause
get
the
carried
talent's
away
there,
with
yeah.
the term generational is kind of interesting. It's hard to have a generational player if every draft there is a new one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That just becomes like a good player or like this year's best player,
But
not a
at the
generation.
position, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
True.
actually, you're right. I
I
don't
feel
know.
like we have a
I
new
don't know.
generational quarterback
But
every
that's
2 years.
true. You're right because like Joe
Yeah.
Burrow and
I don't know.
I don't know.
Trevor Lawrence.
No, I kind of agree. Like even
Yeah, that's
generational.
true.
How is he?
That's true.
Trevor Lawrence
with
one
with
people
wide
did
receivers
things-
too, it seems like I mean we're on a stretch for like almost every year. There's another breakout rookie.
Yeah.
But did we
and the
ta-
teams that have won the Super Bowl, I
Le-
mean they don't necessarily have this generational
Totally.
receiver. And if you look at it, the past past 3 Super Bowls have all been won by an interior, like a defensive tackle, like Chris Jones making a big play against Brock Purdy. 4th down for the Bengals, Donald getting the sack.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow had Jamar Chase wide open, but just you're seeing like defensive players probably should be always taken. Either that or linemen should always be a top 5, unless you get obviously like a quarterback.
Unless you're a QB.
Unless you get a
The league is
QB,
just
but
switching.
it's just what I think it's a business at the end of the day. In the ratings, every kid wants to be a wide receiver.
The Marvin Harrison jersey,
It's
wherever he
the-
goes, will be a
it's-
top
It's
10
the
jersey.
Odell Beckham effect.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
but also at the top of those drafts, we weren't talking about Justin Jefferson like he was going to be like an insane generational talent.
Because he
When-
wasn't. He came out of nowhere.
Okay, that's what I mean.
Jamar Chase, though, yes. What was he
No,
drafted?
but,
5?
no, but, that,
Number
but
5,
that's
yeah.
but that's also because we saw Justin Jefferson and we were saying, oh, Jamar Chase played with him.
No, Jamar Chase was
insane.
drafted 5. No one even cared about Justin Jefferson. Jefferson was wide receiver 2.
Well, 2 different drafts.
No,
Jefferson was
I'm
the year
saying,
before,
but
yeah.
even
Yeah.
in the, I'm saying, well, Jefferson was wide receiver 2 no matter how you looked at it on that team.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no one was
In
like,
every stat, yeah.
but so that's a weird argument.
So you're saying,
because
but you were just saying generational players can
no
come
one
out
said
of
Jefferson's
other
gonna
spots.
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
just at the wide receiver position, we haven't talked about a player like Marvin Harrison until now.
I
lately.
kind of agree. I mean,
leading up in
I'd
the
agree.
draft.
Only
I think
only
Julio
because,
Jones was pretty similar. Calvin Johnson.
But that was a long time ago.
No, I know it's a
like
long
now
time
it's a long
ago.
time
2008.
ago.
Yeah, I would-
Like he,
I would
like,
agree
I think
because
Marvin Harrison actually is.
there were like the pre-draft Jamar Chase things about like
yeah.
his hands and catching and stuff. I agree. There hasn't been some wide receiver that no one has had a negative thing to say about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I haven't heard one person be like Marvin Harrison's not the best receiver. I don't even
Yeah.
know if that's a take that's allowed on TV.
No.
I don't know if anyone said that. But quickly sticking with the wide receivers, then I want to move to defense. This is being looked at as potentially the deepest and best wide receiver draft class in NFL history. There are 3 receivers right now projected to go in the top 6. So the current projections are the 3 quarterbacks, 1, 2, 3, and then you have Marvin Harrison Jr., Rome Odunze, and Malik Neighbors.
Wild.
I know none of us had any of those guys in our top 5.
Wild.
But how do you guys feel about this being the projections? I think it's nuts. We've already talked about wide receivers, but I mean, let me just
Wait,
read.
I have Malik Neighbors in my top 5. Here's number 5.
Okay, you do have 2 receivers in
Yeah.
the top 5.
Mike.
Yeah,
So
I have
maybe-
Malik Neighbors.
So maybe I'll go to you first for this, but I just want to quickly read out the top 10 ranked wide receivers on ESPN. And then, because my whole point here is I think all these guys can be NFL stars, and I just think it's nuts for any GM to be like, let's take wide receiver 3 in a draft with pick 6. Like you're
Let's
taking the
see,
3rd
fine.
best receiver with the 6th
Oh.
pick, and I think that's crazy. But they have Marvin Harrison, Rome Odunze, Malik Neighbors, Keon Coleman, Adonai Mitchell, Brian Thomas, Lad McConkey, Xavier Legette, Troy Franklin, Tez Walker. That's the top 10, and all of those are projected by ESPN
Yeah.
to go in the top 50 picks. 10 receivers
Studs.
in the top 50 picks.
I think they all deserve it, too.
You think they all
Yeah.
deserve to do it?
Such cap.
Let's go to let
Such
Mike go here.
Didn't we just talk about
No,
one shoot?
no, let Mike go.
Let Mike go. Yeah, so all of them,
They all
10,
deserve it?
Top 50, first 2 rounds.
I mean, so in my personal opinion, I feel like the NFL as a whole is shifting a lot more to be a passing league. And obviously, if you're going to be a passing league, you need more receivers. And I mean, that's a clear as day, as we could see with like the old like ultra like godlike people for running backs are kind of I don't know, in my mind, seemingly starting to get smaller and smaller of a list. And I think the more conversations are being had about quarterbacks and receivers and the stuff that they're doing together. Even when we talk about the Chiefs, it's all about Patrick Mahomes is doing this without receivers. It's not ever about Isaiah Pacheco did great and he was helping them out a lot. It's like, no, it's literally Patrick Mahomes and then Travis Kelce, and he doesn't have anyone else.
So
right? And so it's like, I just think because the NFL is shifting to so much more passing and quarterbacks heavy, I think, yes, they all will go within the top 50.
No, that wasn't the question, though.
Well, I
The
was
question
saying,
was
wait,
not,
what?
will they all be in the top
They
50?
deserve.
do you think
They
they
deserve-
should? Do you think they should be all
Those are
taking
two
that high?
complete opposites.
This is a
Well,
huge-
that's kind of the same idea as like the top 5 being what I think it should be, or the top 5 based off what the teams are, right?
So,
it's like,
so you're saying that you think the team should take wide receivers, but that it's not necessarily what you would do.
correct.
Okay.
So I think based off
don't think
like
still
the
don't.
top 50 picks,
Yeah.
I think yes, teams will end up drafting all 10 of those players.
I
But I think if I were to make a top 50 list, yeah, I probably would leave
Okay.
like
so I think we
a
agree
couple
there.
or 3
Yeah,
of them
no.
out.
I don't know if anyone. Do any of us think that makes any sense in the world for 10 receivers to be in the top 50? Are we all on the same page? That's kind of crazy.
I actually don't mind it if 9 out of the 10 or 8 out of the 10 were all in the second round.
Okay.
If we want to run in the second round,
I don't hate
get
that
some
either.
core players that you're using your third or second pick on that you're not all in on. You're getting actually value at. Yeah, but 5 of them being in the first round or whatever it's going to end up being
5 or 6 in the
is
first
an
round.
absolute sick, disgusting joke, and I don't want to hear it.
Are the 4 of you guys in consensus that Odunze is number 2?
Not even.
And
not even. He's not.
Because
don't
I have
even
neighbors
get me started
number
about it,
2.
dude. Don't even
Odunze.
get me started about it, dude.
I have Odunze too.
Don't even get me started about it, dude. God.
Should we
Streak
give off
routes.
like our
Streak
top
routes
5
every other
receivers
play.
just real quick?
Well, I mean, I don't want to drag this on forever, but everyone quickly.
I mean, I'm
Top 5 receivers. Go. Just list them out. Your top 5 receivers.
Marvin Harrison, Neighbors. Who's the
Coleman?
No, not Coleman's my 4.
Just tell me what team.
Franklin?
Franklin's my 3.
Yeah, Franklin
on Oregon,
Coleman's
he's
my
fire.
4,
He's
and
fire.
Number 5.
Has to be Dunze.
No, give me Leggett, South Carolina.
Wow.
I watched
Leggett
you
from
do
South
that.
Carolina.
The same reason why I don't think Michael Penix has fallen so much. People realize they watched the game and it was streak out, screen, streak out, screen.
Odunze.
Dime.
I'm saying,
Hands.
I'm saying a lot of people on the best offense in the league could have done that, in my opinion. Leggett, you watch Leggett take a screen by himself and shed 14
Oh,
tackles.
he's a
punch someone in
monster.
the face and take it to the house.
Yeah, he's a monster. He's DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
But all right, Tate. Top 5 receivers. Go.
I'm just so cookie cutter here. Marvin Harrison, Rome Odunze, Malik Neighbors, Keon Coleman, and then I'm gonna go with I like Troy Franklin as well. Actually,
Okay. Wow.
yeah,
I have
so standard.
Harris,
You guys.
Odunze, Neighbors. So standard top 3. Although I think no one besides Marvin Harrison should go in the top 10.
Yeah.
Just want to make that
Correct.
clear.
Yep.
So
Yep.
there's a huge gap between 1
We
and
all
2,
agree.
and then
Yeah.
my 2 to
Consensus.
whatever.
even though Mike
is
had a Blake Neighbors.
whatever.
Yeah, besides Mike,
Um,
we all agree.
My number 4 is Brian Thomas. So I have
You
2.
had Neighbors at 5. He's
No, I
specific-
know. Wait, what?
We all shook our head and agreed.
Mine's in a different
Oh, my
planet.
bad.
You
I'm
can't look
just
at what
making
it's.
sure the viewers understood.
No. His
Sorry.
head moves.
Yeah,
That's
sorry,
just what he
Tyler.
did.
Go ahead.
It's like a
So
bobblehead.
Yeah. Okay.
You guys,
So Brian Thomas
I was
at
just
4.
making sure the viewers
Yeah,
are good.
No,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I
I'm
go
just bobbling around.
Marvin Harrison, Rome, Malik. So back-to-back LSU. Brian Thomas.
That's
And then my number 5 is got to be. This is a weird one for me. It's got to be A.D. Mitchell.
disgusting.
wow.
80 Mitchell.
Barely does anything on.
No, I like him a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
Go ahead, Mike.
you already know where I'm going to go, but of course,
Xavier
Marvin
Worthy.
Harrison. No, Marvin Harrison number 1. I'm going to go Malik Neighbors number 2.
Yeah.
I have to throw my boy A.D. Mitchell number 3.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that doesn't do anything.
Shut up, stupid.
Did nothing. But didn't finish top 30 in any.
No, shut up, stupid. And I'm gonna stupid. And I'm gonna go
Finish top 5.
with Thompson, the other LSU boy.
Thomas?
Brian
Yeah,
Thomas.
Thomas.
Thompson.
Yeah.
No, Thompson.
Thomas number
him
4. And then I'll go Dunze at. No, I won't. No, I won't.
Who do you want?
I'll go Coleman.
What is
I'll
this
go Coleman.
Brian Thomas guy? We're creeping into everyone's top 4.
Real quick, I'll
he's
go
fire.
Harrison 1, Neighbors 2, Coleman 3, Odunze 4. Bias would be Brian Thomas, but realistically, it's either Franklin or Tez Walker.
Ooh,
I
Tez
like
Walker.
Tez Walker gets
Why on
slept on.
earth is Lad McConkey at 7?
You gotta like
McConkey?
you gotta like Lad McConkey. I mean, though he's a smart guy.
He's under Renfro, isn't he?
Belichick's not in the league anymore. It's impossible for him to get drafted.
I think McConkey will surprise some people, but
Julian
he's not.
Edelman?
Don't get me wrong.
For a year.
He's not my 7. He's not in my 7. But I think
He's not in my 10.
if you
He's not in my 50.
I think for receivers or players.
I would draft receivers in college right now if I could bring them out.
Oh, okay. All right.
Not even close.
Enough of that.
Okay.
Why is
Enough
Lad
receivers.
McConkey
Yeah,
getting
enough
straight?
receivers.
Not good.
Enough receivers.
No, he runs a mean 3-yard out. Okay?
Yeah, he meant
Put some
to
respect
He
on
meant
it.
to Renfro.
We
in
kind
his
of
prime.
so we kind of already touched on this, but I quickly wanted to circle back to defensive players before we move on, and then I want to hear everyone's top 5 quarterbacks because a lot of our lists were all over the place on the quarterback front, and we haven't even got past the top 3. But it's kind of crazy to me to see. We all had defensive players in our top 5. But I mean, the Mel Kipers, the Field Yates, the guys that make the mock drafts don't have defensive players in the top 7. Any of them.
No, I know.
Any of them in the top 7. So I in my
Shout out
mind,
Mel Kiper.
I'm just wondering.
Every year he just amazes.
I mean, you talked about strategy changing. Is this year the first year we're seeing a difference in the ESPN draft strategy? We don't really know if this is how the draft's going to go, but say it does. Is this a strategic shift, like in the way that players are getting drafted, or do you think that the evaluators are just evaluating this as an extremely weak defensive year? Because I could see both sides to it, where it's like we usually should go defensive players, but overall, like there's no one that's going to move the needle here, or are they just like these offensive players are so good?
Wouldn't that project them higher if it's a super shallow draft class?
No, I'm saying it's a bad
Everyone else
defensive
like
year.
you're
saying-
like like in their mind, they're like all these offensive guys are superstars. There's no guaranteed Pro Bowl superstars at the top of the draft at the defensive
That's so
position.
crazy. I think there's
a weird
this is
take.
one of the best defensive most valuable defensive players you're gonna get out of this draft in a long time because you don't have to pick someone at 6. Don't have to pick someone at 9. You get I love Nate Wiggins. You're getting deep.
I love Nate Wiggins.
Cooper DeJean from Iowa, way deep. You're getting Kool-Aid McKinstry, early second round,
Love
way
Kool-Aid.
deep. You're obviously, like you said, his UCLA boys going 12 or 13,
Yeah.
which is crazy deep. You have all these players that are so good going deep, and I think there's a lot of defense that you can get for value. Instead of having to waste that 4th pick on defensive end, you get to wait till the 15th, late first.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna get so much value like everywhere.
Yeah, I
in
think
defensive players.
I think we both actually view this the exact same way, to where I think this is a very good defensive year. I'm
Very good.
surprised this is how they're projecting the top picks to go, especially with 3 receivers taken before any defensive end.
It's wild.
That statement just doesn't make sense to me at all.
Feels a little revampy for the league. Like there's so many
Well, it feels like-
tiers that have been stuck.
It feels
They
like
wanna
it
get 'em
really
back.
feels like there's a narrative that they're trying to push that I can't figure out why.
Jersey sales.
But maybe
I
it's
wouldn't
something.
buy it.
No,
Jared
the
versus
script
Jersey
writers have something in
Yeah,
store.
maybe
that
it's something,
season.
but it just doesn't make sense to me. But I agree. I think this defensive class is stacked. I mean, I'm the only one who's really mentioned Dallas Turner. I think he's the best defensive player in this draft. And then you have other ends like Jared Verse, and then you have the corners. The corners in this draft are crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely crazy. I think Nate Wiggins is cornerback 1. ESPN has him there. I've seen other drafts have him between 1 and
Kellen
3.
King, Penn
But yeah,
State.
I mean, you have the Cooper DeJean guy, and then you have Kool-Aid McKinstry, and then who's the other one? Terrion Arnold for Alabama as well. And
Doesn't
so
Texas have an insane guy that came out?
Tavondre Sweat.
No, the defensive tackle.
Byron Murphy.
Yeah, he's
Byron
Murphy's
him
insane.
in the first.
yeah, no. So there's a lot of good defensive players. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
Also
or
Brian
if-
Watts.
Does anyone think they're doing this right? They're projecting this out right.
Absolutely not.
It's kind of like when someone's betting on the wrong side and you're fading them every time. I feel like that's how you should look at Mel Kipers and whoever's making the list.
Yeah.
Just if you have a pick similar to theirs, start changing your strategy. Getting people.
I
in
feel
there.
like people like GMs draft on his list.
No, they
to
look.
not
That's
look
why it's so
stupid.
scary.
Yeah, they don't know what to do. But doesn't it seem they're making the list based on the teams that have the picks?
Yeah.
A little bit. Like
Yeah.
it
They
just seems
base
that
it
it's-
around
yeah,
what
but
they need.
It seems that way. That's why the quarterbacks, because the first three,
I get the
first
quarterbacks.
three.
No,
I know.
I get the quarterbacks 1, 2, 3. I don't think it should, but I
Yeah.
get it. Like if you need a
Okay,
quarterback,
but
take a
think
shot.
about the fact that if you're if you're making that list, you're saying okay, they need a quarterback.
So you're telling me right
and then
now-
every other team is going, oh shoot, I need an offensive player.
So you're telling me right
Why
now,
not bet offensive lineman?
but you're telling me right now, Giants at 6. Their number 1 needs a wide receiver. You've got to be shitting me. I mean, like, there's no way.
Every other position.
Yeah,
they need.
There's no way you add Malik Neighbors to that team and
No, they
all of a
just
sudden
change
they get a
something.
bunch
Yeah,
of wins.
exactly.
Like,
It's-
But you had like Joe Alt they could slowly start defending for their quarterback. Run game.
Or
get Jared Verse, Dallas Turner.
Yeah,
Go get someone who
it's,
can move the
It's
needle.
not flashy. I don't know.
You're
right. No, you're right. It's weird. It's really weird.
You'll buy a neighbor's jersey for the Cardinals, but you will not buy a 2-2 whatever jersey for the Cardinals.
Oh, hot take. Washington takes a random player just because they need money. FedEx Field sucks.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
That was wild.
What do you mean? They need a popular player so they can make a ton of money off of them.
Yeah.
So they can improve FedEx Field because it's the worst field in the universe.
So they're going to draft the quarterback.
So they're gonna.
That's why they draft the quarterback, to improve the turf.
No, yeah.
Back-to-back UNC.
Not to win games.
What were you going to say, Mike?
Mike, rip it.
That was a Mike.
I just speechless Mike.
I've never seen Mike disbelieve in someone else's opinion.
You pulled a Mike to Mike.
Yeah.
To Mike.
Bing, 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 bing.
How does it feel, Mike?
I don't know. I kind of forgot. No, I didn't forget what I was gonna say.
That
I
happens
think,
with us when we talk.
dude, yeah, that was freaking out there, bud.
That you know is out there.
Wait. Pull up
Smokes.
all of Mike's clips right
No,
now.
They don't want to have a 6
It's already a 5-hour episode. We don't need it to be a 10-hour
I
episode.
was gonna say, I think one of the earliest jerseys I ever bought was a Sean Merriman jersey back on the old days of the Chargers, and he was a defensive
Hey, you don't watch
linebacker. So
football.
I'm just.
He wasn't an
This
offensive
guy's
linebacker.
this guy's so rude.
Yeah,
This guy's so rude to me. Like,
Picked it up at
Literally,
TJ
yeah.
Maxx for $9.
100%.
And to be fair, he thought he was a quarterback.
100%. Goodwill for
Number
50
56.
cents.
Under center.
100%.
There was a tight spiral.
someone call the national bullying hotline for me.
We'll get you
No,
that
no,
number.
no.
We'll get you that number.
Alright. That was some pretty good draft coverage. Now, quickly, I want to just go through our quarterback rankings in a second, and then talk about our favorite sleeper, and then our biggest bust, and then, save some draft talk for the next couple months.
For the draft.
Yeah, you got the combine coming up, you got the draft. This is just our way too early. We could talk about this for hours.
Yes, we can.
Let's
But
do it.
we got to save
We
some
might
stuff
be.
for later. No, all right. Let's talk about the top 5 quarterbacks. All right. Time to talk some quarterbacks. We talked the top of the draft already. We said who our top 5 picks are. Some of us didn't have any quarterbacks in that top 5.
You're welcome.
I do want to hear, though, because, I'm going to start with you, because you didn't have any in the top 5.
You better start with me, baby.
You didn't have any in the top 5, but I want to hear your top 5 quarterbacks.
Yes. Yeah.
And when you say them, also hint at where you think they should be taken. It doesn't have to be an exact pick number,
That's
but
tough.
obviously none of our top 5, so you'd be like, I think 6 should be like Caleb at 6 or whatever. You know what I mean?
Beautiful,
All right,
beautiful,
give me your top 5.
My number 1 quarterback in this draft. Kills me to say this, but I'm an honorable man. I look at a player and I know skill. Drake May is the best quarterback in the draft. Nothing to say here.
He's so happy, dude.
Only because
so happy.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this. Let me tell you something.
No. Let him
Glenn
tell.
Cook, Glenn Cook, hold on.
The biggest thing I enjoy in college football to show in the NFL is pocket passing. And this guy, when he stands in there, just looks so comfortable. Oh yeah. And I love it. I don't know about
Comfy
this whole
cozy, baby.
gonna be insane, but because I don't think this draft is that talented in my opinion, quarterbacks, Drake May is the best one. Obviously, I'm not crazy. Caleb Williams, I'm putting at 2. By the way, I think Drake May should go like 7 or 8 according to the talent of the rest of the draft. And then Caleb will be right
All right,
behind
we'll work on that.
It
At
could
least
be
we agree on number 1.
back-to-back quarterbacks. I would put Caleb at 2. I'm not an idiot. Guy's unbelievably talented. I think his ceiling is higher than anyone else's. Personally, I think he's insane. Number 3, you guys are all gonna rip my off for this one, but
Bo Nix.
yeah, Bo Nix.
His chicken.
Bo Nix at 3.
Wow.
Well, like I said
I
again,
knew you were going there,
like
too.
I said again, I know you
Ryan.
guys love to talk about his Auburn days. As soon as he came to Oregon and actually had a system that was willing to work with
He
him,
cooked.
he
Mr.
cooked.
Screen.
cooked.
No one throws a better screen.
No one throws
I mean,
a
you
better
don't.
screen.
You could say that you don't throw 3,500 yards.
Highest
by throwing
accuracy
screens.
of any quarterback.
You pretty much do.
He did.
He did.
No, he threw deep balls. There was like one of the best deep balls.
Every now and again.
No, okay. Keep going.
keep
The
going.
wide
Keep going.
receivers
Yeah, that's
cooked.
how
Next,
Franklin
great. You
got
guys are all right. Whatever.
going.
No,
Crazy.
I like it.
No, you guys are crazy.
No, I love it.
Bo Nix at 3, but like 17 to 25 range now. Like you big drop off of quarterbacks.
Oh, do you
like,
think Caleb should be right after Drake?
right
by the
after
way? You
back
said like 7, 8.
Okay. Yeah, or save a pick, whatever's
Sure.
comfortable. Then that is it for the first round.
Okay.
No first round quarterback. Then I love like the Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels. They were both like early second round. I think Lamar was the first pick.
30-second pick.
32nd pick.
Oh, so
Last pick of the first round.
Okay, but same thing, like early, in my opinion, early second round, Jaden Daniel is a prospect that could work out. I just need to see more. I got one really good year of it, kind of got a bunch of shitty Arizona State years, and He's a Heisman god. He looked unbelievable. He's more. Number 5, unbelievable. So this is like when we were saying Will Levis was so late, it was such value. You know what I mean? This guy was the Heisman favorite before he snapped his fucking leg.
Yeah.
Jordan Travis needs to be looked at. I mean, he was unbelievable last year. Everyone talked shit. Everyone was like, who's this Jordan Travis kid? Why is Florida State ranked so high? He proved everyone wrong, beat a ton of good teams on the road, beat LSU to open, beat Clemson in Clemson, performed out of his mind. I think Jordan Travis, in the value you're getting him, which is the 3rd round and 4th round in some people's, if not even later.
I'm seeing Jordan Travis around pick 140.
Yeah.
So that's like round 5.
Yeah,
4 to 5.
The value, in my opinion, you're getting at Jordan Travis when he was literally the Heisman favorite before he broke his leg. Crazy to me. I think he has so much value there. You can get him as a backup for a year, one of those guys that just come in. We'll see. I don't know, but that's my top 5. None of them in the top.
That's kind of a hot take. Don't get me wrong, I actually really like your list, but
Me too.
I mean to have
Except for
no JJ McCarthy in there, is
I watched
kind of a big thing because
almost every
he's QB4 in all of the mock drafts and everything. They're having him go in that 11 to 13 range right now.
Yeah.
And you don't even have him. I mean, you have Jordan Travis, a projected 4th or 5th rounder, ahead of him in the rankings.
I hate to throw this word out. I'm not a fan of this word, but if you want the greatest game manager that will never do anything for you, JJ McCarthy's your guy.
Yeah.
He's your guy. The Niners need a new game manager. JJ McCarthy, get in there, run the ball a couple times, throw a couple screens. You got it. I don't think JJ McCarthy will do anything to impress a team or build on a team. Wow. And the teams that are drafting in that first round, top 14 picks, need a guy that's going to step in and ball. Yeah. He is not even close.
Not the guy.
Not even close.
All right, Tate, moving to you. Give me your top 5 and kind of where you see they should fall.
All right, so at number 1, just plain and simple. It's actually weird. I told these guys. I don't know if anyone doesn't like Caleb Williams more than me. I mean, maybe Tyler. I don't know, but my UCLA, USC that makes my blood boil. But he's the number 1 quarterback in the draft. Caleb Williams, I think he just has the best opportunity and the most talent of anybody in the draft. And then I think I'm gonna agree with Ryan too. Drake May is gonna be number 2. So 1, 2, super easy. Number 3, gotta be Michael Penix. I mean, he was just
God.
Not in Ryan's top 5.
This year, he just kept proving that he was
he's a winner.
Yep, in Mario's words, all year, he's a winner. He's a winner. That guy wins. He's got the heart. He's a winner. I love Michael Penix. Lefty. Watch out for the lefties this year. Number 3.
Watch out for the lefties.
Watch out for the lefties. That's right.
Yeah.
Watch out for Tua.
Number 4.
Baseball.
Number 4 is going to be Jaden Daniels. I think I left him out of my top 3. Kind of the same reason is you can have a freak year, and he had I don't know how good his year was before his last year. I mean, it was the end of it was he was
the
good.
last 5 games he really started.
Yeah. So the last 5 games started to be really good, and then he was really good this year. But we'll see how he plays in the pros. I mean, it's a whole different ball game. So I'm going to leave him at number 4, and then I think just. I really don't understand why JJ McCarthy is ranked above Penix, Nix, and even. I mean,
no, I have no.
He's not.
That's why. Winner.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
If you want to say,
he's not the 4th best quarterback in the draft. He did win a lot, but I think it's gonna be. Oh God. Dude, 5 is just. This is brutal.
5's a tough spot. Yeah.
No, 5 is just so tough.
Wait, how is it tough?
I
just don't.
So you don't have 5.
I don't like a 5th.
All right, so no 5 for Tate. You just got
no
top 4.
5.
Only 4.
No
Only
5s.
4.
Yeah. All right. So here's my top 5, and for me, there's some pretty sizable gaps in here. So I don't want to. I'm gonna highlight those gaps. Number 1, I agree with Ryan, is Drake May, and I think he should be the first pick of the draft. I think he's going to be the best quarterback in this draft class, pretty strongly. I think you'll be able to see it pretty clearly in the next 4 or 5 years. I think Drake May is without a doubt the first quarterback on my list. Caleb, too, just because of the upside. We kind of already talked about that. I have both of them going in the top 5 picks. I think they should go in the top 5 picks, probably 1 and 2, to be completely honest. But I think Drake May will be much better than Caleb Williams. Number 3 for me is Michael Penix.
Yep.
I agree completely. I see all the criticisms of him. Yeah. He has a weird throwing motion. Some people are like, oh, this could be like a Tebow type thing where his team just won a lot, but his throwing motion takes a while. Dude, the NFL is going increasingly more downfield, athletic quarterbacks who can sit in the pocket, move around, throw these deep balls, hit people on the run. All Penix did was drop dimes and win games. I mean, he went to the national championship with a Washington team that, I mean, they were underdogs the last 4-5 weeks of the year. I don't know what it was. They were underdogs every week. I mean, he just wins spots. And I think one of the biggest things is to draft someone who is a winner, who's composed, whose teammates like him, and who can actually deliver when it matters. And Penix was under fire a bunch this year. Had no time to throw the ball. His offensive line did him no favors all season, and he still put up really good numbers. So I like Penix at 3. And then I have a pretty sizable gap. I have like 1-2 gap, Penix at like 11-12 gap. And then end of the first round, I love the Jaden Daniels end of the first round if you can get him there. But anywhere between 24 to 32, I think is a great spot for him. He reminds me a lot of, not like totally Lamar Jackson, but similar to him. The way he runs, the way he can throw, get out of the pocket. I think he could turn into a really good pro or be really, really bad. So I think he's a total gamble pick as to where I think Drake May is far less of a gamble. That's why I know some people have Daniels above Drake May. And my 5 is Bo Nix. And I don't love Bo Nix.
You could not love it, but...
No, I don't love Bo Nix, but I think he's so much better than J.J. McCarthy. And then I do really like the value in Jordan Travis, though. I wouldn't have... He's not in my top 5 quarterbacks. I can't... No one can convince me he's better than those 5 I just named, but you do have to look... If he's healed, right? If it's not nothing messed up with his mental, I think that's a really good spot. If you can get him in like the 3rd, 4th round, I'd love it.
Of course.
I'd love it. Yeah.
All right. So top 5 quarterbacks, definitely kind of against the grain here, but definitely with Tyler and Ryan, Drake May is number 1. I mean, they're nothing I could say that hasn't already been said. 2, I'm actually gonna go Jaden Daniels. Heisman winner. I mean, he's done everything he can do to prove it, running and passing. Since I have to, I'll put Caleb at 3. I mean, he has such a high ceiling, and there's no reason
you want to do.
Mike, it's free country, baby. Free country, Mike.
Somebody off camera, had a gun to my head and said put him at 3.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's a strike for sure.
No one in
Degen.
Degen.
No one
has a gun.
No one in Degen has a gun.
We have a lot of Nerf battles.
It was
in
a
this house.
bazooka.
Yeah.
4, I'm gonna go with my boy Bo Nix because I was riding him all last year.
You rode him hard.
He was also unbelievable.
He was unbelievable, right?
Best ride of your life, Mike.
Shout out Bo Nix.
Shout out Bo Nix.
Friend of the ride. Friend of Michael's.
Friend of the ride.
And
Friend of Brian's.
Close friend.
And number 5 is gonna be J.J. McCarthy. We want to talk about a winner. I mean, talk about the guy who won the actual national championship.
Went to the playoffs the year before.
Went to a playoffs the year before. And it's literally exactly as we talked about all season with the 49ers. Having a great game manager is not a bad thing. It's actually really, really helpful.
You have a good team, yeah.
And yes, obviously if you have a good team that helps. But his ability to like not turn over the ball in an excessive amount, his ability to just kind of like stay marching down the field and like put up points regardless. Clearly it helped that Michigan was a national championship-esque team, but that's why I have him over.
For J.J. McCarthy, I know he's your 5. Is he still graded for you in the first round? Would you take him at the end of a first round pick? So all your quarterbacks, all your 5 are in the first round guys.
Honestly, no. I think I would be pretty similar in that I think the top 3, so Jaden Daniels,
Drake May
and Caleb should all go. Caleb probably being at the very, very end of it. And probably the other 2 will be in the 2nd and 3rd.
Wow, okay.
Imagine Caleb Williams goes at like 25.
Dude, I hope he goes
It's physically impossible.
I know, but like
he's going to be the one pick that we're saying we should. Mario, round us out here. Your top 5 quarterbacks. We already know who you're taking at 1.
You guys already know who I'm taking at 1.
Bo Nix.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's top 7. No. Jaden Daniels, for me, number 1. I just like the progression I've seen out of his passing. Ryan kind of off comment mentioned it, but like last season, not this past, but like the one before his Heisman season, towards the end of the season, really started to hit his stride, but still saw a little bit of kind of those like missed throws, kind of similar to like Michael Penix. Like once every 10 passes, you're just like, what was that pass?
Yeah, where that?
This year, even in the opening game when we lost to Florida State and I had a 30-minute rant.
Oh yeah, you went
but
crazy.
his passes were just like he would stand in the pocket and just deliver. And I watched it all season. Like, sure, yeah, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas helps. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and act like that doesn't help. But he would hit them like sometimes when they have a corner here and a safety's coming here, and he would hit them And like he'd throw the ball before they even make their break. Like I just saw
Unreal
him
season.
progress as a passer, which is why I'm just so excited for him because he does have the running ability. You guys mentioned Lamar Jackson. I just think he's a way better Lamar came out of college really rough, and he's still not the best passer. But
He's gotten a lot better.
He's gotten a lot better. Number 2, I have Drake May. He just seems like a safe pick. I don't know how high his ceiling is, but he just kind of gives me like a less talented arm Matt Stafford kind of guy. Like he just looks like not the Super Bowl win, but
He's in the league for a while.
He's going to be in the league for a while. You kind of know like
stats.
he'll get you to wild card, maybe win a playoff game.
I like the Matt Stafford comparison, but I do think his ceiling's a little higher than that. I think he has a high floor, and then also like he could get a ceiling. His ceiling could break.
Maybe, but I'm just saying from what I think. But yeah, I don't think his arm talent is as high as Stafford's out of college, but I just see him like a long-term kind of pro. Could be a starter for, definitely a franchise quarterback. Number 3, I have Michael Penix. Simply because I think in this league, like you just have to kind of be able to take whatever the media throws at you, whatever the fans throw at you, and like he would go, whether it was home, away, big stage. Like the dude never seemed really that rattled until, obviously they lost in championship. I think he was just completely outmatched. I don't hold a lot against him. He was working. Team, honestly, I was surprised he even got there. So I love Michael Penix, love the arm talent. I mentioned earlier, he has these throws where you're kind of like, that's like, where did that go? So obviously he needs to work on his mechanics a little bit, but I think if he can get that dialed in and consistent, I think he could be better than Drake May in terms of like initial first couple years, like bigger splash.
Plus, I love the fact that you can get him kind of in later rounds.
For sure.
Yeah,
the value is so high.
I mean,
the
Saints
value,
at 14, I'm just like, please.
Good Steelers.
But then for
Steelers,
him, the pressure isn't
Isn't
there
as
as like
high.
a Caleb Williams or a Jay
there's
Daniels.
the expectation is not as high. 4, I have Caleb
Does that
Williams.
scare anyone? Real quick, sorry to go off track. The guy who was the Heisman favorite before the last 2 games of the season, 3 games of the season where Jane Daniels beat him, Michael Penix was the Heisman favorite, was the best player, a lot of people think, because of how much he won. Won one of the hardest divisions last year, beat up on Texas in a crazy game, and made it to the championship where it wasn't his fault. A lot of people say the team was just outmatched, like you said, and he is nowhere to be seen in this draft. Is that not go like...
No, because if you look at
GMs and everyone
because if you look at it, Drake May's always been touted up highly. Caleb's number 1.
I'm not talking like top 5, top 10, top 20.
Yeah, he's projected mid-second.
That's what I'm saying. Like, does that go?
No.
For me personally, I go like, I don't like him is because I think I'm seeing what all these GMs are saying and being like, there's a lot of work to put into this guy.
I don't think the GMs are seeing it. I actually think he's going to get drafted a lot higher than they're ranking him. I think this is a classic like ESPN Mel Kiper ranking situation. You saw, and we keep talking about Lamar Jackson, but it reminds me so many times, the clear best quarterback, at least that performed the best in college, doesn't get even talked about at the top of the draft.
Like
no one in the world, seriously, but Lamar Jackson in college at Louisville was unbelievable. He won the Heisman. I mean, he was crazy. And no one was talking about him.
He got drafted like 10 spots after where he's supposed to get drafted.
But they took him at 32.
I know, but the whole draft was like, holy shit, he's dropping. Will he drop to the second round?
What I'm saying
is... It wasn't like second round.
I bet you he gets drafted very similarly to where Lamar did.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's possible, but the whole talk, Lamar was 18 to 22, Lamar could easily get drafted. And then everyone was sitting there like, holy shit, and the Ravens finally made a decision to do it. I don't think, for Michael Penix, I think it's the opposite, where it's like, he's so far deep in the draft, and now maybe people will go up because they think there's value, but I don't know why.
But he's projected like the 8th pick in the second round.
Well, he's projected QB 6, right?
So where do you think he should go? Do you think he should go at the end of the first, or do you think
end of the first, early second?
I have him as my QB 3. So I think I don't think end of the first. I think like mid first round.
So after the second pick, there will be 34 picks without a quarterback pick, in your opinion.
Well, I said mid first round is where I think he should get picked.
Oh, I thought you said early second.
No, I think he'll get picked, like actually get picked at the end of the first round, like right there. But I think because he's my QB 3, he's graded for me like right in that like 10 to 13 range.
Dude, I don't even know if he's going to be a great fit in the NFL. Like I feel like he had the perfect system at Washington, and
He
it was
the system.
He won't start.
he
more
was
than
the system, but he was so
He won't start
one-dimensional.
more than 16 games.
No, I completely
One-dimensional?
agree with that.
What do you mean?
All he threw was out routes and streaks.
Dude, I
The
mean,
guy had no like.
that's
He
college
wasn't
football. That's
cerebral.
college
He wasn't like. I don't know. I'm not impressed. I'm not a fan.
Okay.
I think that's why they got shut down so
The
badly.
big
in
thing
that.
you said, Mario, was the Jane Daniels when he would hit a guy in between a safety and that.
No, I know.
Those are the throws I could see. For Michael Penix, it was never that for me.
I mean,
was
because
the-
it never
no,
happened.
over the shoulder
It never
that hit him.
happened.
He would hit him, and then he was too inconsistent. Like that's what I said. Like he would hit some of those, and you're like, wow, what an arm. Like he'd make some throws where it's like you would barely see the ball on the screen. Like it would just be
Yeah,
a
because
rope.
it's a dart.
But then he'd also have these throws where like he'd have someone on an out route. Or like in the
Championship
natty,
game.
in the
Dunze
natty,
wide
he had a
open for
Dunze wide
tying
open
it.
and just like overthrows. And those
Yeah,
are the
just
things where
complete
like
mess.
you just cannot miss.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if he cleans those up, I think.
All right.
And then okay.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Finish the top 5.
number 4, I have Caleb. I think potential's there. I'm just scared of this kid. Something about Caleb. I just don't think he has it upstairs. We'll see. I know we're gonna talk about bust later. I think for where he's projected, I just think I don't know. I love the talent, but I just like it's two different people. Like he's
I am right there with you.
yeah. And then number 5, it's a tough spot. I think if Jordan Travis was healthy, I'm not a big fan of Jordan
He'd
Travis.
be much higher on my list if he was healthy. 100%.
I'm not a big Jordan Travis fan. I would probably put him there, but because of the injury, I'm just gonna keep him at 6, and I'll throw JJ McCarthy just because won the Natty. Say what you will about game manager. He's another guy who you could argue. I mean, he's just kind of like a winner. And he made throughout the season in those pressure moments where kind of like the game's on the line. Like if they don't pick up this third down, then they have to punt, and like who knows? Like every time that situation came up throughout the season, time and time again, he would just make like a great throw.
Yeah.
Like, some tough throws. So I think he's not a bad pick. That's my number 5.
Yeah, he's good.
Okay. And then talking about quarterbacks to wrap up the quarterback talk, and then we're going to talk about biggest sleeper, biggest bust, etc. I'm moving to the teams. I know we already talked about the 3 teams up top. You got Bears, Commanders, Patriots.
Yeah.
They're projected to all take quarterbacks. Is there a team outside those 3 NFL teams that you think should or is potentially in a position to, with how many draft picks they have, move up and go get their franchise quarterback? Like, is there someone who's a team no one's talking about right now that you think is going to go make a crazy move and go get a quarterback, or do you think it's pretty locked in that these 3 teams are staying put and they're just taking their quarterbacks, no one's trading?
Does it have to be like teams outside the top 10 trading in? Are you saying?
Anything.
Or,
Yeah, or I mean, if it's a team in like the 6 or whatever. I just said team outside the top 3 picks, not like it's Bears, Commanders, Patriots. Is there a team not in those that you think is going to go all in this draft to go get their quarterback?
I don't even necessarily think that they will, but I think the Falcons should. I really like that the idea of the Falcons getting like a franchise like future quarterback type deal. I think the only way that they actually get top 3 is by trading up into like the top 1 or 2. So yeah, I don't think they will, but I think they should. I also don't know what value they have to be trading like draft pieces for next year that they can kind of afford to give away in place of that. But yeah, that's kind of what I think.
Mario?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty tough. I hate this organization, so I hope they don't ever succeed. But, I mean, the Falcons, if they did get a quarterback, they have a lot of pieces. Their defense, they have some players on that, were young but kind of starting to gel. They have a lot of pieces, obviously, on offense as well. I just feel like they wouldn't trade up, though. They would probably just go after Fields, if anything, and trade away their pick.
Off season.
So, yeah, it's hard for me to think of any other team that really is trying to go after a quarterback outside of like if we had a decent coach, maybe the Saints. But
Yeah, I was just gonna say, are your boys looking for it? Because I know you guys.
I mean,
really
we might
super
make a
heavy
move.
with-
We have Gruden in the background, so he might be cooking up something. I
He's
just think
always
we have,
cooking up something.
we have so many
Knock
pieces.
on wood if you're with me.
We have so many pieces, and I feel like we could just dump like a few picks, maybe throw in a little Michael Thomas because he just somehow still has a name while he's relevant.
A couple jersey buys.
Yeah, and see what we can get. But
I really like the teams that are currently 11 through 14 to do something. The Saints are including that.
Yeah.
So it's
Broncos.
Minnesota's 11, Denver Broncos 12, Raiders 13, Saints
the
14.
Raiders do really need Raiders really
the
need
team
all
I
those
think
teams.
the team I think actually will be aggressively trying to get in that top 3. I don't know whether it's or not it's gonna be successful. Is the Raiders?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
the
no, I
Raiders
agree.
are really
I
going to go
agree.
after a quarterback in this draft.
Yep.
If they believe they can get their guy at where they are, they might just stay,
Yeah.
or they might move up a little bit. But I think the Raiders.
Michael Penix to the Raiders would be so good.
That's what I'm saying, and I think they have some pieces, especially more expensive pieces, that they could move for some draft picks. At the running back position, you have Devontae Adams at wide receiver. I mean, they have a couple big guys on their team that they could move. I don't think they're sticking with Aiden O'Connell. I don't think, and I think there's,
Definitely not.
especially
He's
not
not.
with this
No,
quarterback
no.
draft class. And then you also, I mean, you have to look at Denver, right? Because
That's my pick.
Russell Wilson
Yeah.
is he's gone. Denver doesn't have anyone. I don't see Sean Payton really wanting to go trade for someone, or like the free agent quarterback market
Yeah.
isn't the most insane thing. I don't think he loves Justin Fields, and I could see him really making a move or just sticking
sure.
where he is and getting like a JJ McCarthy.
I
Bo
was
Nix.
I was literally
So-
just gonna say, because JJ McCarthy seems to be the exact opposite of like something that would mesh well with the Raiders. Like, do you think they just wait and just grab him as like an excellent game manager?
for Denver.
No, for the Raiders.
Oh.
As somebody who's like what Ryan said,
He
an
does not fit the
excellent-
Raiders.
No, he doesn't fit the Raiders at all. But he's a great game manager, and they don't need a game manager.
I could see. Penix
You know what I'm
I
saying?
could see Penix
right?
to the Raiders.
Wait. So if they don't need a game manager.
No,
why would
I
they-
don't think.
Well,
I don't
because they
think
need
go
somebody
JJ.
more explosive. They need like a commander of their offense, right?
Yeah.
And like you need a game manager when you have pieces that can actually like do something without necessarily having a guy that's gonna throw it up.
So you're saying, do we think they should take JJ? Or
Yeah,
they will.
yeah.
I don't
Do you
think they
think-
should.
No, they shouldn't.
No, I don't think they should.
That's interesting.
Who do you think? What's your team? You said Denver was.
It's
your
not
team.
even a thought. I actually think they're going to go all in. Their defense is
Denver.
Denver's absolute. Denver.
100%.
Their defense is absolutely stacked. Sean Payton's a defensive mind, so he has enough for the next 3 to 4 years. You have nothing to worry about on your defense. All you need is that quarterback. And don't get me wrong, their offense. Sutton and Judy could play well. Sutton is very good when he gets any
he's
ball
great.
thrown
Yeah.
his way.
Yeah.
Judy is a good +2. They have a good offensive line. Their running backs we're getting going. They're young.
They get
Dude,
forgotten.
Dude, trade your defensive,
I like
trade your
it. I
second
love
round,
Denver to
trade
make
your
it.
next 3 years of second rounders for the number 2 pick at Drake May, and be
love
set
that.
with those wide receivers and team.
I think
I think
that
Sean
might be a great
Payton's the
idea.
coach to do it. Too.
what I'm saying.
he was the one.
Yeah.
I
So
know-
the Chiefs traded one spot ahead of the Saints to get Mahomes. Sean was gonna take Patrick Mahomes, and for like the last 2 years, like he goes on like Colin Cowherd, all these teams, and he talks about he's like, we were so close to getting
Saints fans
Mahomes.
must-
We and he's like, we didn't
Jameis.
we didn't see the Chiefs trading up one spot ahead of us, blah blah blah. But he always talks about, he's like, yeah, they got us. But he's a coach that for sure would. I think the Raiders could sit back and just kind of take whoever's
Yeah,
there.
they might.
I actually think the Broncos will. It's not even like.
And I think the
they do
Broncos,
it.
yeah.
I think they
They're
will
really
too.
good.
Tate, round us out here. What's the team you think should or will make a move?
Yeah, I'm not going to spend a lot of time because I think you guys hit it on the nail. I absolutely love the Raiders making a move here. I think Antonio Pierce is just like, he wants it bad. Like, he wants it bad, and he's willing to do whatever it takes. I just love the fact that the Raiders could just move up into a spot and take a good quarterback. And then, obviously, the Broncos. I mean, like you said,
Yeah.
I think Sean Payton could really put together a good squad next year.
Oh
So
yeah,
those two teams I love.
I definitely see some movement in this draft. I don't think this
Yeah.
draft order
Yeah,
will
no,
stay
I
the
think
same.
so,
I don't
too.
know
Yeah,
what's going to happen,
electricity.
Definitely not.
but I think it's
I
going to
think
move.
there's 2 movements in the top 10.
There's 5.
I think there might be a little more than that.
All right.
All right.
7.
One more thing I want to talk about: biggest sleepers, biggest busts. Let's finish out the episode. All right. Now we're gonna do a couple speed rounds where everyone's gonna go
Zip,
ahead.
zing, zap.
I'm gonna ask a question, and you're gonna just give me first thing that comes to your mind, your answer right here. Tate, I'm starting with you. Biggest sleeper in the draft.
Michael Penix.
Who?
Michael Penix.
Michael Penix.
Michael Penix.
Easy. Ryan.
Keep sleeping.
Keep
No.
sleeping.
All right, real quick, take
Doze
away the
off
Florida
into
State
death.
boys of the verse, Keon Coleman and Jordan Travis. I think they're all being slept on at every spot. I think it should be higher. Braylon Allen of Wisconsin. He is 6'2", 250 pounds. Derrick Henry, 6'2", 250 pounds. He runs a 4.4. Derrick Henry runs a 4.5. They're the same
Wow, I
player.
love it.
Braylon,
I love that.
You'll look back in 2 years and think I'm a genius because he'd be the best running back in the league.
Wow.
Wow.
I have a running back as well. And this is by far my biggest sleeper. I think there is a good chance he can be the best running back in this draft class. Ray Davis from Kentucky.
He was balling.
He's currently being drafted in the 150, 155 range, running back 10 in the draft class. I think I'm not a big go up and get a running back guy, but I'm just saying if you can get this guy in around like round 5, round 6, whatever, he's a starting running back in the NFL. He's going to have an impact, I think, if he goes to the right spot. Obviously, you can't project him to do as well as Kyron Williams did, but I don't think there's any difference between him and Jonathan Brooks, and Jonathan Brooks is RB1 in the class. So I think Ray Davis being slept on very heavy.
To be honest, that was like a deep sleep, and I think I'm going to give more of like a REM cycle sleep right now. I'm going to go with Audric Estime. Or, I don't know, Audric Estime.
Did you call him acoustic?
Artist
Estime. But yeah.
Audric.
Yeah.
Artist Estime?
Artist.
Audric
What are we
Estime.
doing here?
Yeah, the artist. So,
The running back.
Picasso Estime. I mean, clearly we were talking about
Joe
Alt and how he kind of made him do fantastic things.
Yeah.
I still think Estime in himself is very talented, and I think he's getting slept on. I think he's gone.
Yeah, right now you're getting him around like that 90 range.
Which is like
third round.
Yeah.
End of the second, third round.
yeah.
Mario.
Yeah, I mean, there's a million sleepers. Like Ryan said, all the Florida State boys are all getting slept on. Braylon Allen, Ray Davis.
Jordan Travis.
Yeah, he was in
Florida
Florida State.
No, I know, but you just didn't name him.
He didn't name him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm naming him for you.
I didn't have to, sorry, I didn't have
I'm
to
helping
name
you.
the
No,
three
go
that
ahead,
you
Mario. I'm
said.
sorry about
The
this.
speed round.
Okay, yeah, I know. Okay, and also I agree.
Speeds for Mike.
Yeah.
I agree with Tate too about Michael Penix, but I'm gonna give out one. Quarterback I think is better than McCarthy, Bo Nix, and there's no talk about him. I think Sam Hartman's better than both. So
Wow.
Wow.
No one talked Sam Hartman in this. No one mentioned him.
no.
I love that.
Give me an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Cade Stover.
Wow.
All right, what are we doing? Over here?
Stovey.
Look at him.
Sleeper.
He is a sleeper. He is a sleeper. All right, now
Out there
pivoting,
cooking on
Amari, I'm going to
stove.
stay with you. Biggest bust. I think I might know where you're going here.
Caleb Williams.
Yeah. So you're going Caleb, just he's an easy bust.
I mean, realistically, I feel like busts are typically looked like at the quarterback position. So
Correct.
out of all the quarterbacks, I think he has the the most hype, media, everything. So I think he would be the biggest bust if he doesn't turn out to be Patrick Mahomes Jr.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Mike?
Yeah, I have two. I'm going to go with Caleb Williams, clearly shown by him not being in my top 3 quarterbacks. And then number 2 is Odunze. I think
So good.
Wow.
similar to the same idea with
Be the worst
Penix.
fifth pick in the history.
Huh?
It's gonna be the worst 5th pick.
Oh,
in the
I
history
agree.
of
No,
the
I
draft.
agree. And I think
Corey Davis is gonna be
they're
better.
it's such a one-dimensional team. He's so easily shut down. I hate him. He's so ugly, and he's
you
stupid.
gave the same criticism
No,
to
and he's-
Michael
and he's
Penix, being
stupid.
one-dimensional. Dunze's one-dimensional.
Wow, it's crazy how they go hand in hand
I know.
because they're both one-dimensional and they suck.
It's just
and they're
interesting.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Receivers
Yeah, they have like a
one-dimensional.
1.0
All he can do is
GPA.
catch the ball.
It's
All he can
stupid.
That's all he did.
All right.
Move up
So
to that.
obviously,
about?
I don't.
Negative
I'm not just
0.5
going to give out
GPA.
Caleb Williams because there is
It's
upside
just-
there, but he
Makes
he
you
would
feel
be
good. Get off your chest.
just going from the number 1 pick. He's I think high bust potential. No one's gonna like who I think is a bust at the wide receiver position. He's not anywhere near my top 5. It's Keon Coleman. I think you're not going to hear much from him at all in the NFL, and it's not a popular take at all. People love this guy.
He's a freak.
He has the height. He has the athleticism. He has everything you need. But I think in a lot of these draft classes, you see receivers going in the first round who you really don't hear a lot from. I'm not saying Jerry Jeudy's the exact same example because he still has flashes, but he's very much just like a wide receiver too. He's not the guy that you project him out to be. And a lot of people are looking at Keon Coleman like a wide receiver 1.
Is he projected in the first round? Or is it
Yeah,
fresh?
I mean it depends. It depends what draft. ESPN has him ranked 4 for wide receiver, 16 overall,
Oh, wow.
with a 90
That's
grade. So
really high.
Higher than I thought.
well, I don't know. I look at it, and I think if there's a wide receiver that will bust in this group, I think it's going to be Keon Coleman. His stats are great. I mean, there's nothing you can say bad about the guy in college. He had a great college career, but I don't know. Wasn't extremely highly recruited, which doesn't mean a whole lot. Came from Michigan State. He was okay. He wasn't that crazy high projected. Had a really good start to the year, but then you saw when he played some of the better corners, he wasn't able to do anything. The only game I
got
watched
shut
him in
down.
person was against Nate Wiggins. He did literally nothing that entire game. Nate locked him up, and then Nate goes down. Keon Coleman makes the game-winning catch on our backup corner. So I mean, like he makes very athletic plays. He could be great.
He's really
but
raw.
If there was someone that I think would bust from the wide receiver position, it'd be him.
Okay, I have 3 guys: Jonathan Brooks, Byron Murphy, and Adonai Mitchell. I think. I'm just kidding. That was me. Come on, Mike. It was good for the content. I'm a content guy, eh?
All Texas players, if you didn't know.
No, we all know Byron Murphy's not going to bust. The other 2 obviously will. But
we never know. No, my actual one though, according to their position, I think Jane Daniels will be a bust. I think only because of where he's getting drafted. Nothing to do with his talent.
Yeah.
Because I think that at the 3rd pick, like you said with Caleb, how high and good you have to be is crazy. If he was drafted like the Lamar area, like end of 1st, 2nd, anywhere in that, and he was mediocre, I'd be okay. But because you're the 3rd pick, you have to perform at that 3rd pick. I don't think he'll be able to do it.
And realistically, that's probably the best pick because at least the Bears have like talent.
No,
he's going to the Patriots. Like
no one.
No. I mean, like talk about a desert.
Yeah.
He's in the Sahara Desert.
I
There's
like
nothing.
quickly, just quick mention before we move to Tate. I love how Ryan rides with his boys. His 3 fake picks were all Texas. His number 1 biggest draft is LSU, your team. So just want to point that out.
Yeah,
Tate,
I put Marvin Harrison Jr. at 1-1.
well, Michael rides for his boys. Ryan does
We
it.
all know you're right.
Tate, who is your biggest bust?
All right, so just hear me out. This picture that meme of the military guys, right? There's the 3 military guys. There's the clown, the 4th guy, and then there's a military guy behind him.
Yeah.
Okay, it's JJ McCarthy.
Ooh.
I mean, you got to be kidding me. I mean, this guy's gonna be the easiest bust of all time. They're just like, oh, he won a national championship. Let's throw him up in the rankings. Like, no, he's going to crumble instantaneously in the NFL.
Instantaneously.
Like turn to dust.
The Thanos snap.
Spontaneous combustion.
He's gonna start like 1 game and you'll never hear from him for the rest of time.
Aaron Rodgers, 4 plays in.
Who is the guy that the Texans drafted? Was it Malik? Shit, how am I drawing a blank?
Not Malik
2 years
Willis.
ago. Malik Willis.
In the
Titans?
Yeah, the Titans, sorry.
Yeah.
Titans, when they drafted Malik Willis, played like 2 games. Immediately, they're like, nope, that. You're gone. They ain't playing that. Next year, draft Levis. Yeah, no, so, okay, I like it.
Just like that.
And last question I have to round out the episode. We all have our favorite NFL teams, at least most of us. Tate still has yet to pick a team. Starting with Mario, who do you want your team to draft from their current draft slot?
Who dat?
You obviously got
Who
the
dat?
Saints.
Yeah, so from our current draft spot, we
You're
should
at 14.
Yeah, we're at 14. Somehow get out of that, get Jaden Daniels. No, but I love it. At 14, dude, I hate Derek Carr, but kind of referencing back what we said earlier about having a quarterback sit for a year, I would be fine taking Penix, McCarthy. I just want another quarterback. If I see Derek Carr play another full season, like this next season might be my last season on DJ. Like I can't take it. So just
Quarterback no matter what.
Quarterback, I think. Yeah, I mean even Bo Nix, dude, at this point, like just something so I can feel something.
Yeah,
like
What about? I mean, don't you feel something with little Jameis Winston? You know,
Dude, it's
I
Jameis.
felt a little
something
too
for 5
much.
That's a little Jameis.
Yeah.
You feel a 5-second rush and then you're all passed
You know,
out.
when they asked Jameis Winston, like, where do you feel pain? He just goes, it's just everywhere.
Pain.
That's
Yeah. Pain
it's
everywhere.
just pain everywhere.
Yeah.
That's Jameis Winston. Yeah, I just need a quarterback.
He's a real leader. All right, Mike, the Rams are sitting at 19.
Are we sure?
Yep.
Rams? Is it Rams for next
It
year?
is 100. Fuck, God.
That's the team. No, that's the team we're gonna. Support?
What have I done against you today?
No, but you just keep choosing different teams. I want to make sure the viewers know who you're rooting for the next upcoming year.
Haven't picked
We've
a
only
different-
been for DJ for 1 year, so I want to make sure they know.
Yeah.
Going forward,
So
who
you're
your team is.
just to confirm, Rams for next year.
Rams for next year.
I'm not even gonna respect that with an answer. So
All right, 19.
Oh, so he's
Yeah,
open.
you are.
He's
You
open.
are.
So he's playing the field.
New prospects are
19
coming.
based off of kind of other predictions of how the draft would go. I would be unbelievably over the moon if we can get Liatu Latu.
Oh, yeah.
That would be absolutely phenomenal.
Tate,
I
breathe.
saw him.
Breathe.
There's like 2 or 3 different separate predictions that I saw
know what
Liatu
was
Latu going on like 21, 22,
Yeah.
kind of somewhere like 18.
Oh my God,
And so
value
if you can,
value.
no, unbelievable value.
Yeah.
And so if we can grab him at 19, oh my God, I'm gonna be so
Fits
stoked.
that defense
So stoked.
well. That would be a great pick.
Awesome.
I would love
awesome.
that. So yeah, Steelers actually following the Rams.
Oh,
You're
at
at 19,
20?
we're at 20.
Oh, I didn't know. That.
Quarterback, no matter what. And so this is contingent on if we get Justin Fields before the draft or not. He's the only quarterback I want that's currently in that could move teams free agent time. I don't want Russell Wilson. Don't give me a veteran, like a veteran. Justin Fields been in the league 3 years, but like don't give me like your
Russell Wilson has 1 year,
10
maybe.
years.
Yeah, exactly. Don't give me an old quarterback. So I'd love Justin Fields. He'd be my number 1 overall choice for who to get in the offseason. And then obviously we wouldn't go quarterback then. But as currently constructed, we don't have a quarterback.
Yep.
We cannot do another season with Kenny Pickett or Mason Rudolph. Yeah. We cannot do it. So quarterback here.
Do you agree, Ryan? You like
100%.
Kenny?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So if I can choose any of the quarterbacks that would be projected to still be around here, my number 1 is gonna be Michael Penix. My number 2 is Bo Nix, and I'd be over the moon with either of them. I think Tomlin would be great with Penix. He's a winner. Penix plays hard. I think the guys would get behind him really well. He'd have that Romo Dunze-esque receiver, I think better than Romo Dunze in Pickens, as his true wide receiver 1.
For sure.
And we have an O-line and a run game to back him up there, which Penix never really had that and had that protection. I think he'd do great. And also just Bo Nix is he's a little older of a quarterback, both of them are. Yeah. But I think both of them would fit really, really well in Pittsburgh. But we need a quarterback with a first-round talent. We don't have one on roster, and it's the only reason we aren't winning playoff games the last 7 years.
Yeah.
We've made the playoffs. We win over 500. We're over 500 on the season. It's been missing the quarterback.
Yep.
This is the draft. Go get your quarterback, Pittsburgh, whether it's Justin Fields or in the draft. But if it's not Justin Fields, if this first pick isn't a quarterback and we don't get Justin Fields, I'm actually going to lose my shit.
No, I will too.
Like, I will go crazy. So,
I will too.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, you're a Steelers fan too.
Yeah, first thing I put was go get a first-round quarterback. I don't care who, I don't care when, I don't care how, I don't care where, I don't care anything. Get a first-round quarterback. I don't care. Just a first-round quarterback. I don't care who it is. I honestly don't care who it is.
You know we're not trading up. Or
I don't care who it is. You can make up a name and write on the list as QB next to it. I'll take that player. I don't care who it is. If we do get Justin Fields and Justin Fields only, I want Cooper DeJean out of Iowa. I think him and Joey Porter on both sides would make us for the next 5 years a lockdown defense that no one can fuck with, and especially in the AFC North where defense is how you get deep into playoff series and Super Bowls.
Well, don't you need a DN according to Micah Parsons?
Yeah, no, apparently TJ Watt's really not
apparently
that good.
TJ Watt's not top 5.
Dude, holy. That is the worst take in the history of the world.
He literally led him in every single statistical category this past season.
The league, not just him.
No, yeah.
The league. Yeah. Like, that's why.
Except for that one statistic that he, like, that
was like
obscure,
double
he
team
finds
percentage,
one.
and that doesn't count. Michael Parsons, this is a side note, but Michael Parsons kept bringing up the double team percentage. That doesn't count how many times you're chipped. That's pure double teams, 2 players on you. TJ Watt, one of the highest in the entire league, amount chipped by the tight end.
Of course.
Every single time they'd motion the tight end, chip him, which is essentially a double team. It's a block.
He
and then
found
you go.
one stat that Miles
It was like
allowed to
win
be
rate.
defensive
Yeah.
player of the year.
Exactly.
That was it.
But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
yeah.
Cooper DeJean,
Iowa, I think he's going to be the first ever white cornerback to actually take over this league. I'm here for it. I'm excited for it. I watched my Iowa.
Is he your
Lockdown.
cornerback 1?
No, Nate Wiggins is my cornerback.
Okay, but you'd have him at 2.
Nate Wiggins is going to go higher.
Yeah.
But Cooper DeJean, give it to me with JPJ. Get going, baby.
Tate,
I mean,
you don't have a team, pick a team and say who you want.
Pick
Just
a
random team.
Hey, Siri.
They're like, hey, this would be cool.
Give me the Eagles at 22. Who do you think the Eagles at
definitely
22?
not. No, I really just want to see Latu land in a good spot, and that's going to be a heavy deciding factor of if I root for this team for the.
What if he goes to the
next year.
Seahawks?
With Zach Charbonnet.
Last year you
I
said you
know.
root for whoever Zach
So you're
Charbonnet
going
is
to keep
to.
making
That's
it up
awesome.
until you get
It's just
Until it's convenient for Tate.
It has to
Until
be a good enough
someone,
landing spot.
until someone gets drafted by the Chiefs.
Oh man, I have to be a Chiefs fan now. Oh no.
But all right, so you're abstaining.
Yeah, TBD, but just Latu.
All right.
It's my
All
pick.
right.
To the
Well, hey,
Rams, baby.
I
To
mean,
the Rams.
I think that covered a lot of the good early draft
You
stuff.
got everything. There's not more you can get.
Yeah.
That was a full NFL draft episode.
Like 2
The
hours or
NFL
something?
draft 2 months away. The combine in I think like 3 or 4 weeks or something.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll obviously after the combine's done, you'll have your updated draft rankings. We'll touch on those a little bit, and then obviously we'll do a full NFL draft episode the week leading
yeah.
into the actual NFL
That'll be a
draft.
big one.
Yeah, so that'll be a big
one.
episode. But this was our first pre-draft talk, first off-season talk. We're so back. NFL is back, baby.
Only 6
Oh,
days
yeah.
off. That's all we
NFL is
needed.
back.
Oh, yeah.
We had 1 week. Tate, tell the people what they should do before clicking on the video.
You
Don't
thought
click
we
out.
were done with football?
You were wrong,
Drums! There's more football to come. Don't
Bang.
ever leave our sides because you're going to get the best info here
Yeah,
at
heel.
10 hours. So click
Heel.
that button down below, subscribe, give this video a like, leave us a little comment down below, share with a friend, and turn that notification bell on. We'll see you guys next week.
We'll see you guys next week.
Boom.
Bang.